And we're back in the Cain Corner. I'm David, joined by my two friends today.
Gabe Sinclair, the Stillwater Giant Truther. And today we have brought our grooming victim, the one and only Senor Samsara, who not only did we groom to play Arcanum for the first time, but may have played the most cursed first-time playthrough since Chris Avalone and the Wolf incident 10 years ago. Samsara, how you doing today?
I'm good. Just a gnomish grooming victim.
We started the series, and a couple of people said they were going to give the game a try, and you were the most consistent. Like, you seemed like you really stuck with it. You would send us these updates, these nightmarish updates partway through. We've referenced 2 or 3 times, I think, about, Virgil's dead, the dog is dead, everyone's dead.
It's strange. Like, older RPGs, I'm not super familiar with them. I played the first Fallout. It's a bit like watching an older film where the polish isn't really there. There's a lot of like modern quality of life improvements that have been made over the years. It's just smoother in general, but you can still kind of learn something from playing them. It's an educational experience, I guess, and what not to do, and ways in which games have regressed a little bit, but
it's a mixed bag for sure.
Yeah, it is. I definitely would recommend it. It's just there's a bit of it's definitely a filter, and I would compare it mostly to watching like an older film. If you're the kind of person that can sit through like a Hitchcock film and not doom scroll.
And I want to hear more about it. Also, today this is part of the ongoing series. So this is, I'm going to call this part 2 of the muddled middle of Arcanum, where we're going to be going through Stillwater, Qintarra, however you say it, and returning to Tarant for the boil. And obviously we got Sim on. So, just want to hear what, obviously, you'll be here to chat through the episode like normal. And again, anyone that's listened that's inspired to play these old head games with us, shoot an email or shoot a DM to us. We'll try and get you on. But
all 5 of you who watch the Cain Corner,
all regular. We have like 50. We have 50 core gooners that never miss an episode, sir. So the old head army is slowly growing.
So if you don't comment, you might as well not exist. You're in a cuck chair of the algorithm.
Yeah, you just sit and watch. You don't get to participate. But I am curious. Like, before we dive into like what this particular segment of it, like when you were playing, I'm just curious, like, up until now, so Stillwater is like sort of a later middle, and Qintarra is sort of like the later middle chunk. Like, what was your experience like the first half of the game? What was your experience coming in? Also, like, what's your experience with, like, how much of a Cain head are you? Now, have you played Dungeon of Elemental Evil?
Are you a certified Cainiac?
Yeah. I'm a theoretical Cainiac. I actually avoid playing games that, like, I have an image in my mind of what that game's like. The vampire game.
Of what? Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines?
Yeah. I kind of avoid it. Like, the version in my head I feel like is a little bit better than what I'll actually experience.
Oh no, you would love it, dude.
I have this with BioShock. Like, I've met Ken Levine before. He was really cool. Like, the image I have, they're like, as developers, I enjoy listening to them. So I don't want to like spoil, like, I don't want to actually experience their game and be disappointed. So I almost avoid getting too deep into their work.
Well, Zizek speaks of this, actually. There's this great TikTok quote of Slavoj Zizek. It's like, as soon as you attain, the worst thing you could ever have is to attain your desire. Right, it's the create, or as another philosopher said, Lemmy from Motorhead. Right, the chase is better than the catch.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have the same way, but in a negative with Half-Life. Like, I don't need to know Half-Life. I never need to play. I know who Gordon Freeman is. I know
Half-Life
Hunt down
1
to Freeman.
And 2 for the record. Gabe never played Half-Life 2.
I have no need to. It's everything has been like insinuated through osmosis to the entire PC gaming culture. It's just unnecessary at this point. It's oh my god, I can jump around. It's a fully first person. There's no cutscenes in this. Oh my god, I'm soy jacking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
It's like
I've already watched 5 hours of Mandalore gaming on this. I don't need another opinion, my own opinion.
Yeah, I already saw Mandalore. If Mandalore did a video on it already, why do I need to? Speaking of which, Mandalore has an excellent Arcanum review, by the way. So after watching this, please go watch Mandalore's Arcanum review.
Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of it. I find it really surface level, personally. No disrespect.
Well, you can't expect them to spoil everything like we do.
True.
To your point, it was a slow start for sure. Just like learning the controls in the game was a bit of a. It took like 30 minutes. I had a couple bad starts. I had to restart a couple times.
I think that's part of the game, actually. I don't know anyone that didn't die 20,000 times to the bridge bandits.
Yeah, it's hard to, without like specific examples. It's kind of hard to go into. Like, I think we'll get into my thoughts on like some of the regions.
Yeah, as a zoomer,
I don't want to put you on the spot that you have to give like a 20-minute lecture or anything on it. So just if you see a spot as we go through it that it relates to the larger themes, like feel free to blast it in. I'm sorry, Gabe, I didn't mean to step on your toes there.
No, I was going to say, as a zoomer cognitive check, I want to ask you how many hours of lost gameplay do you have because you forgot that autosaves don't exist in these kind of games?
Probably about 10. out of the 70, probably about 10. Yeah,
1/7 of content just lost to the wind.
I had that experience with the first Mass Effect, so I'm not new to it. But yeah, it's whenever you play an older game, you kind of you have to like relearn.
Yeah, it's funny. Us real gamers, old gamers, we just reflexively save. So there's actually no downside to it. We just have like a leathered callus on our pinky or whatever from tapping the auto save button. But yeah, there's no downside. So just once you adopt that skill, because it is a lifelong skill, you actually never have to unlearn it. There's no downside.
You have to download mods, turn off the autosave.
Exactly. Yeah. It's too easy, actually. But if you're good, if you guys are good, we can just start jumping into the meat of it.
Into the meat of the Stillwater
middle
of the Stillwater giant.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to disagree with the definition of, I threw that out last time, Gabe, about this being the muddled middle of Arcanum, and I think it applies to this part too. But there was two things we didn't do last time. I realized after we never mentioned the spirit form of Aeronox appeared. It's just one of those it was one of the few scripted cutscenes, maybe the only scripted cutscene in the whole game, actually. I think about it, where it's just like a random encounter that's forced on you. But you just see this figure comes up, it says it's Aeronox, and he's going to return and destroy all life. That's really all there is to it. Your companions are frozen. Supposedly you can bug the game out and kill him, but I want to throw that in there.
Well, it does just remind you that there's a plot and there's urgency. It's like, oh, fuck, our plot doesn't have any urgency. Like, we got to tell the player, literally, like, basically it's a fourth wall break. Please pretend that there's a sense of urgency and stakes in our universe.
It really does feel that way, actually. Like, because the game is so... We talked about this, like, the third or fourth episode. You get to Tarant, and then you just get lost, and all of a sudden you're like running Uber, and you're saving horrors of the Heart of Gold, and you're doing bank heists and all this crazy shit, and you forget what the main quest is for a long time, and then you're kind of doing it. Then you spend 20 hours in the mines of the BMC mines, and then this guy comes to remind you why you're doing it. It's interesting though, because it kind of makes it real, because you could be playing and not believe. If you're not like a religious type character that's real, I guess this would kind of shock you into, in narrative, believing in the urgency as well. So there's a defense of it.
Well, my contention with it is that, one, it was done a lot more subtly. If you wanted your player to remind your player of urgency of the main plot, the Mlocky and hand assassins that you constantly get harass you in taverns already do a good job of that organically. Mm-hmm. And you still have the element of doubt. If he could be just cultist, you could still believe that the religion or these figures aren't even real yet. You're just being harassed by these crazy cultists after the airplane strikes. But wouldn't it make more sense after you go to the jungle of the secret forest for Parthenax to show up and threaten and stop your game and break the fourth wall? Wouldn't it make more sense after you go to the glimmering? I think what's the glimmering forest, right?
Yeah. That's where the Qintarra is.
Yeah, would you agree with that
It might,
contention?
yeah.
It would have been fit more better because you actually have a lot more. The major plot it starts clicking in a lot more after the Glittering Forest, and after you see the elves and you learn more truth about the Panari religion. Then you hit them with the somehow Snoke has returned, but in this case it's
Yeah, that makes sense. And for spoiler reasons, because we're trying not to spoil stuff that happens later, actually, it makes more narrative sense that you would have been noticed after you go into the Glimmering Forest, right? By the powers that are associated with this character. Yeah, so no, I think that does. It's really random here. I think some intern was just like, this feels like a slow part. Let's throw this in here, and
Yeah.
they popped it in.
yeah, because because it's on the way to BMC, right? It's not even after BMC, if I recall correctly. The Parthenax event happens. Yeah, it's two with the Wheel Clan.
Yeah, one of the major gripes I had is that the outside of the main quest line, there weren't a lot of like long drawn out branching stories, like similar to the quest line in Skyrim, like the between the Stormcloaks and the Imperials. They had this sort of longer, what almost felt like a main quest line that was separate from the core quest. That there should have been more. And this is, I mean, it's an older game, so you kind of have to give them some slack. But the fact that there weren't like tie-ins to the main story, I felt was like a missed opportunity.
I think it's like culturally of the time, there wasn't as much of a concept when I think back to a lot of older games, like thinking back to Fallout, of course, from the same kind of team. The quests were there also very much, and maybe this is like a tabletop thing where it's like you know, it's tabletop roots, where it's like you stumble into a town and you have a side quest or just sort of these one-off things, and so you don't have that like you don't usually associate that narrative complexity, this like long ongoing quote unquote side task. So
I
I
felt
think
more
that
like random encounters or something.
100%.
The quests were so like compact that they didn't feel fleshed out, and the factions also felt a little bit sparse. Like I wish the elves were a bit more developed. I think they did a good job actually. Last episode, you guys talked about the gnome, not the gnomes, but the
Dwarves.
Oh, the dwarves.
The dwarves, how they have this sort of wall of text way of speaking. But I felt that kind of differentiated them from the humans a bit. It like Spenglerian way of speaking. I think kind of.
Yeah, and it justifies why they didn't get the head start technologically. Like, why didn't the dwarves just conquer? Because due to their Spenglerian and Landscapian view of life. Like, it's like technological deterritorialization is completely antithetical to their very view of existence.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny you guys mentioned that. I have some thoughts on that relating to the elves. Well, I'll come with more specific examples when we're in the elf part later. But they fell much flatter for me in terms of their depiction, how much detail we got. Where the dwarves, even though I was bitching about it last episode, the wall of text, and I stand by that. But in terms of like the way it was delivered, but they did have a bit of flavor that was not just standard issue genre dwarf. It's like, okay, we have someone, you know, they put in a little bit of a unique spin on it.
They felt foreign in the way that the elves didn't.
Yeah, and they were able to like articulate their belief system, whereas the elves, it's much more standard issue, and same with the halflings. But so I agree. Yeah, some of the factions are much thinner, and also Caledon, which is not in this episode, but I've played ahead a little bit, and I feel a little bit similarly there.
Well, their only interesting thing about the elves is do not spoil anything, is the psyop aspect. That's literally the only interesting thing is the psyop / pseudo-religious aspect. And that's with the dark elves, not even the main elves.
Yeah, the main elves are just elves. But anyway, we're kind of going far afield. It's like, so we do the Aeronauts. The other thing that's most important is we have to check Gabe's homework. Everybody, Gabe, did you do your homework?
What do you mean? What's this?
Did you go visit the Stonecutter clan like you said you would last episode?
No, I chose not to. Yeah, it was optional. Or you gave me the coordinates.
You promised. I sent you the coordinates.
Well, listen,
I even
I don't
Googled the coordinates for it. No, I didn't Google it. I went online and the AI could not find this obscure game's obscure location. I had to load that shit up. I had to pull up the coordinates for you.
Dude, there's so much fake, literally fake info, just like psyops of Arcanum. Like for the longest time, people said you could use a faith point because that iron chest in the Archaeological Society or the museum, the Dragon's Head. There's an iron chest there, which is for a certain quest. I'm not gonna say which, but people kept on saying you could skip that quest if you can just use a fate point and then instantly unlock the iron chest. You can't do it. I tried 10 times. You can't use a fate point to unlock the iron chest. There's
that's wild.
So much disinformation on the Arcanum fan forums. This is the most, dare I say, gate-kept fandom, where they sniff out all the posers who only know the game for the Mandalorian video on it. Like they literally give out false info and false tips and tricks, so they can get all the plebs who pretend to play the game who haven't actually played the game.
It could also be a mod, like the Drog Blacktooth, whatever really good mod that makes the game workable. He might have fixed that too. So maybe that's messing with us, because this might be a post from 2002 you're reading.
Oh, that's a fair point. It's so niche. The fandom wiki for Arcanum is dog shit, by the way. I think on purpose.
Yeah,
the person with a knowledge of Arcanum does not want to be like overly well known, so they gatekeep the information. That's why the wiki is so sparse.
Yeah, and we're the maybe they're going to send people after us for making it more approachable. But okay, well, let me just tell you, and I'm assuming, Sim, you did not do the Stonecutter clan. I'm only assuming because I did not my first playthrough.
Hey, why are you giving me shit then?
Well, because you said last time that you would play it, because I was like, oh wow, this is actually really interesting, and I've never seen it before.
I guess I will play it for this series, but I didn't say next episode, so maybe for the grand finale. Okay. Maybe it'd be a post credit scene of us talking about the Stonecutter clan.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I didn't do the Stonecutter clan.
Okay, so this goes back to a comment I made in the very first episode about, does this game have walkthrough-itis? And this is exhibit 5 or something of it. So you just talk to one of the random dwarves in the Wheel Clan, which Gabe didn't even talk to any of the dwarves. He just went to the main quest and left.
No, I talked afterwards. I spoke to him afterwards.
Okay, first time players easily miss this guy. I think he's like the blacksmith or the innkeeper or something. He's just standing there. You talk to him. He says, "Oh, my cousin Jimmy, I haven't heard from him, or Jimmy Steam Dwarf, he lives over with the Stonecutter clan. Can you go visit him and check if he's okay? Give him this letter." Okay, I'll do it. And you go across. It's just the same sort of format as that clan, in terms of the tech tiles and everything, but it's just kind of closer to Shrouded Hills, a little bit to the north. Go over there, you go in, and there's mummies and zombies running around. What the fuck? You run around, if you go to the left, you free the dwarves, and they say, "Oh, we uncovered this dark necromancer chamber where he found a way to use technology to bring back the undead." And it's like, "Oh, okay, that's crazy." And then you go right, and you go the other way, and you go into this chamber, and there's a journal from a guy named Kurgan, who's actually mentioned in a lot of the lore books, and it's his journal. He's talking about how the Mage Council of 3,000 years ago exiled him for being a necromancer. Spoiler, this will be really, really relevant later. And it gives like some background on him and how he like found a way to, one of the dwarves said he found a way to reverse engineer into technology this necromancy shit the guy was doing. And anyway, all I have to say, this is stuff that's like way later in the game. This stuff will be, or not way later, but like a decent bit later in the game. This stuff will be, revelatory. But here's my critique my comparison is, this is like the glow. The glow in Fallout where you go into the hole? Well, I guess Sim, because you're a Zoomer, you haven't played Fallout. Gabe, since you're a Zoomer, you've technically played it, but I know you cheated probably.
Wow, I played it 3 times. I actually beat Fallout 1 recently. I did a gambling build run. I beat Fallout 1 4 times. Thank you very much.
But you know what I mean when I say that, like the glow, because it has the lore on the mutants and stuff, right?
Yeah,
And so this is a similar situation.
It's also the only time Tim. This is where I critique Tim Kaine. He's like, yeah, we put all the China stuff in there. We talk about the lore. We just drip feed. I literally checked this. I checked this with AI. The only single time the words China are ever fucking uttered is with the Zach's computer. I'm sorry, there's between drip feeding lore and having it being referenced fucking once in the entirety of your game.
Sounds like you're fiending for some more drips. But here's my thing: the glow works because one, it's a main quest thing. You have to go there, and I don't know. It feels but you have to dig a little deeper. You have to go explore a little more to go across like the real secrets. But this is just so fucking out of the way, and it feels really random that you come across it. So it feels like they're going for the same thing, but they just, again, the walk the rightest thing. It's like, why? I don't know. It's like, why is it so obscure if this is going to be relevant?
Well, maybe it's more of a skeleton key approach. Like if you actually are paying attention, you're doing all the quests. Like, you're building up so where the player can learn more about what the twist is and what the final plot is. You can learn about it, but it's not necessary. It's only for the true hardcore lawnmowers, if you will, who just want to grind through all the content before completing the game. It's to throw them a lore bone or a skeleton key, if you will, to understanding the main plot.
Yeah.
I'm actually misremembering. I think I did do this quest.
Nice.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like there was cut content there. It felt, and this is just like a general critique. It did feel very sparse, like most of the other factions. It seemed like they had a more like a broader plot plan for the dwarves that they just didn't execute for time reasons or whatever. It felt out of the way, and I remember this. I just used it to farm XP. I do remember. Yeah. I completed it before because I in most RPGs I'll just sort of make a grid around the entire map and try to find every location before I start the main quest line. So when I actually got to the Wheel Clan, I had already killed all the ghouls inside the Stonecutter clan's mine. So I had to go through the entire dungeon over again to talk to this guy's brother and tell him he was okay. I actually remember this now. Yeah. It just it didn't really
explored the whole periphery before you did the main quest.
Yeah, I did everything that was available that wasn't gated by the mountains. I did before I even went before I met Gilbert Bates.
Damn. You mocked us.
What level were you?
Yeah, you were over. You were way over leveled, dog.
I was insanely over leveled in the game.
What was it like playing at that high of a level? Because I assume you're level 40 or something.
I think by the time I met Gilbert Bates, I was 38.
Oh wow! So was Black Mountain Clan just a breeze?
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't that hard for me. It was. It just felt like a slog. Yeah. Older RPGs, I feel have this tunnel vision when it comes to the main quest. It's it's the thing that they put the most work in. So they just sort of assume that players are going to focus on it. I think this is just that was probably common back in the day, and now a lot of RPGs will sort of reward you for exploring before you do the main quest line, with richer content and stuff.
So who has the better take on the BMC? Is it Dave or Dave? You just said to cut a level. It's what?
No, I agree with that actually. It was too long. It was very easy. It was very, very easy, but it felt, I was just right clicking or left clicking a lot. I had to travel through the entire cave.
How could you do this to me? How could you do this to me? I was a filter defender. I was making
it still can be hard.
It wasn't that it was hard. It just took so long to get through.
So you want the Todd slop. You want
he's turning on you.
You want the Dragon Claw. Oh, here you go, baby. Here's these 3 blocks, and have that be your only filter.
Well, I don't want it to feel like Daggerfall. I don't have to travel for an hour through like a single level that you have to travel all the way back through to get out of.
So this is how it gets Skyrim, kids. This is how it gets Skyrim. First, it's I like the filter level, but just we got carry a move just this. It's Chesterton's fence. BMC is the video game equivalent. It's Cain's Mines. The Cain's Mines is the Chesterton fence of game design. Once you remove that fence, all societies goes down in one big slippery slope.
Yeah,
I think it's not that these games are necessarily better than modern RPGs. It's just that there are ways in which they've like stagnated. Like there's a lot of mechanical complexity in Arcanum that doesn't seem to exist in newer games. They streamline the builds a bit too much.
Mm-hmm. They dare to be funky.
Yeah, I don't think the main issue people have with modern RPGs relative to older ones is that they're not grindy enough. They don't have a hard enough filter. It's that they didn't develop mechanical complexity. They went in the opposite direction.
Yeah, the spread of Todd's law. Well,
yeah, exactly.
So so your BMC complaint is that it fundamentally it's not as like ball. Well, of course you were over leveled like a motherfucker, but the problem was it was simply just dragging itself out for too long. In that case,
yeah.
Would you say? Since we're eventually going to talk about Stillwater, what do you say in that case? The main plot also suffers from that on a macro level. Like BMC dragging on too long could be applied to the entire plot itself.
Yeah, I think that around the Isle of Despair is where the main quest line should have ended. There should have been some event that cuts you off from the rest of the game, that where you like commit to completing the main story, and the rest of the map should have been filled with
Oblivion Gates.
Not necessarily Oblivion Gates, just like other content unrelated to the main quest line. I feel like that's the main appeal of RPGs is that it's not a linear story. There's other things in it. It's more like a sandbox. There are other things that you can do, and it's not just. I mean, I guess Deus Ex is a RPG, but these like open world RPGs I think benefit from having additional content that isn't related to the major quest line.
Because it fleshes out the world, it makes you feel much more inhabited.
Yeah, exactly.
The lineage of these games, though, like think about like there's like the Gold Box game. There's other more D&D, like more. It was much more like a dungeon crawly kind of vibe. I think inspired Fallout to some extent, and then Arcanum. So I think that's where some of that vestigial like dungeon assumption comes from, but and it haunts the rest of the game. Like I referenced before, like we've already entered and we're going hardcore into the Gorilla Gauntlet portion of the game, where they just create waves of apes that attack you whenever they don't know what else to do, and it like one is not interesting, but then two also kind of like use him with Black Mountain for me at this point with my character. I think most the level 30 seems like a magical. That seems like the breaking point in the game where like your character is too good to fail, and you just start fucking everything up, and combat just becomes a bore. And I don't know if that's a downside of the complexity of character builds, or if it's just a failure to. I think it's mostly just a failure to adapt the game to suit that kind of gameplay, because the game still sings for me. We're gonna get to Stillwater in a second. Like Stillwater is still like a blast, even though I can kill everyone in the town easily, and I'm sure most of your characters could, your character builds could easily as well. But the combat is not the main focus. It's just sort of a spice, but instead they keep throwing combat gauntlets at us. As again, we're coming to the Valley of the Apes, as I've labeled it, soon. So that might be a feature there. So that's sort of my frustration.
They should have had some sort of level scaling, where as you became higher level, they would scale up the difficulty of the enemies. I don't like the level scaling in the opposite direction, where they make things easier, but this game for sure would have benefited from some kind of level scaling.
Well, in many ways, I guess
depending on the playstyle of the character.
The more and more we discuss this, you mentioned level scaling, because you know what game is famous for its level scaling is Oblivion. What you're both asking for is just oblivion. Right, the main quest, right? I've come to see you in my dreams, right? Urgency from the jump. It doesn't have that like it turns to the camera and like it goes from 0 to 60 instantly, right? And the plot, you have the oblivion gates. It's and you can even the main plot, right? The mythic dawn, the Malachian hand, right? It's a sort of main villain is a sorcerer from long past.
Yeah, and his assassins are coming for you. I mean, it's a classic build to keep the character motivated. And in some sense, they're kind of memeing on that, right?
And Virgil and Mark. Again, your best companion is a religious man, Virgil, and in Oblivion, it's Martin or Sean Bean.
My point about level scaling isn't that. The thing is, like, if you play the game a certain way, it like ruins the experience, right? Like, I guess the game should allow for broken builds to a certain extent, but if you do any amount of exploration before doing the main quest line, it makes the rest of the game a breeze, which I think they should have accounted for.
That is true. I think that's why you're taking more of a Josh Sawyer approach, which he very discusses that in his videos about like balancing. Like he will nerf like overpower builds just so all builds are valuable, right? There's no one good build in a Josh Sawyer game, ideally. Right, so
no fun Reno.
Yeah, no fun allowed. Well, Tim Kane's like, listen, games are supposed to be fun. If you could break our game, you control the buttons you press. You know what I mean? If you ruin your own fun by grinding like that, that's actually, sweetie, it's the players that are wrong. That's Tim Kane's approach. I'm not out of the touch. The players are the ones that are wrong.
I'm just super against combat XP, like raw combat as a source of XP in just any kind of RPG at all, because I think it just creates this really weird dynamic where murdering people is power, right? So it's like, what am I, Highlander or something? And it's just really common. I think it's just, again, just one of those D&D brain things. Well, D&D actually early on had a gold for XP system, which is actually more interesting than murder for XP, because gold is like, okay, you can accumulate it different ways, you can get creative. Murder for XP, which this game has, and that creates this weird, like, implicit requirement for combat. Granted, also, what I really like about it is that it has quest completion for XP as well. You complete a quest, you get like a big XP boost. So you can actually level up with a non-combat character. So I love that. The other thing that would have been cool, I think would have been really good in this game is in Underrail, if you guys ever played that. I played it, but I never beat it. But it has a artifact for XP where you can gather these artifacts scattered throughout the world, and some of them are just not worth much monetarily. It's like a newspaper clipping, and there's 3 of them in the whole world. And if you find, or there's actually like 12 of them, but if you collect 3 of them, the first 3 you discover, you get like a XP bonus. So it's just like an exploration bonus, like something like that with the quest XP. I think is like a really cool, which Underrail specifically building on Fallen Arcanum's legacy. You could just see how that makes it much more healthier dynamic in terms of encouraging the designer to create interesting scenarios rather than like a high volume and create exploration. Again, I know they were tight on time in this game, so that's probably where a lot of these issues come from. But I think, again, it was just a thing of the time and like where games were and how they developed since then. And why I think Underrail is, a masterpiece that I'll play to completion someday.
I never played Underworld because
I'm told it's very good. To quote Rawing Nationalist, I'm told by people I trust. It's very good.
It's very good. I'm told by David Harrod, who's not played Fallout New Vegas, that Underrail is a really good RPG. Like, I mean, to be fair, oddly enough, we talk about things that are seen like half baked in this game, even though Tim has said that there's very little cut content. He said this is our kitchen sink game. We threw everything we wanted into this game, so there's actually very little cut content here. I guess it's more of a lack of focus. There's like too many pots in one kitchen kind of thing.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, they could have benefited from cutting certain locations or just making the map smaller and putting more detail. I think his most recent game, I think he actually mentioned that he would prefer if people felt like there wasn't enough content and they wanted more or something like that.
Well, the Monkey's Paws, that game ended up being outer fucking world.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into Stillwater, and then we can pepper in some more of this. I have another question too for Sim as we go. Stillwater, the lovely town of Stillwater, icy scene. We're kind of up near Wheel Clan, so we travel over, leaving Wheel Clan. We have the quest from the king there. He said, "Go seek out the what's her name, the Silver Lady, Elf Queen." But of course, it's a fucking video game, so. Oh, where's the capital of the elves? I finally found New York City after asking around and bribing a shopkeeper. Where's Los Angeles? Help me. This is actually really fucking bothers me in terms of verisimilitude. How the fuck does no one know where the capital of the elves is? Well, and why does only one elf know? You have to find the one elf who will knows.
Well, it would be too. If it was like a diegetic. If every what's the word where every it's like that thing that Todd Howard used to talk about where every it's like a not randomly generated. Where the game generates the knowledge after the quest point, where every elf NPC or every NPC tagged with the elf identity knows. I think that would just be too easy or too gamey. You can just ask a random elf, "Yo, bro, I got I'm an ally. All elf lives matter. Can I please go to the Mecca?" I don't think you can pull up like that. And secondly, I think it's you're not paying attention to the lore because remember the trees have been slowly demolished, so the elves are like in hiding basically. Like the Silvering Forest is like the jungles of Nam basically. So it's not like this is their capital city. Always has been their capital city. It's just they're a bit hiding within those particular trees due to recent technological events.
Mm-hmm. It would have been interesting if they made them nomadic. It would have allowed that to make sense if they just tree hopped basically around a couple different sites, and you had to similar to the Wheel Clan, you had to find some like artifact that would reveal their like exact location at that time.
So your solution to a gamey... Oh, go ahead, Dave.
No, I'm saying that sounds much more natural.
Well, yeah, to find another like MacGuffin? Another
just to get like a quest? Clue, like it's nomadic. That's why nobody knows where they are exactly, because you need to pick up a rumor or something.
Oh, procedural generation, where they're... Oh, that's the term I was looking for. So you want their spawn point to be procedurally generated?
Well, I think in lore.
It could be fixed. It could be fixed, but the in-game... explanation for why it's why no one knows the location is because they move around occasionally, like every season or whatever. They move locations, and I think that would give you enough time, and maybe towards like the end of the game, it's in a different location and it has a different layout or there are different characters there or whatever. I think that would have allowed that to make a little bit more sense.
Well,
yeah,
and it would have added to that faction, honestly. Giving them a bit more distinctiveness would have been nice.
Yeah, we could have skipped the most annoying fucking character in this whole game. Stillwater, small. It's just a small town. It kind of Shrouded Hills vibes. It has, actually, I would say this is a high point for the game overall. I really enjoyed it, but it has some generic town, tavern. Nothing. I don't think there's anything special. The swords are special. The guy sells. I guess they summon a wolf or something. I never used the Stillwater swords, but they're referenced in game as some kind of big deal. Then
it does have a good side quest with the blacksmith. The blacksmith has enchanted swords, and the mage that enchants them is kidnapped by like a troll or something.
Oh yeah, the ogre. He got hungry and kidnapped. I did get that one.
That was actually a decent side quest. I felt there was a sense of urgency, and you had to like find clues and stuff, and you had to track the.
And there's the footprints in the snow.
Yeah, you had to track the ogre.
That was a nice like little bit of texture to make it like a logical leap that I think the window was broken, so you just sort of naturally follow it, and you actually see tracks. You get rewarded for your curiosity.
You see the blood on the floorboards.
That was for sure. I think one of the best sort of short side quests.
I legitimately fucked that quest up like 3 or 4 times because so you go in, it's just a one-way cave with a little cage at the end. You walk up, you talk to the guy, let me open the door. My guy can pick locks, so he picks the lock. And then the ogre just appears behind you. He just spawned. He T-poses in right behind you. And my guy was stealthed. And there was something, I forget exactly what happened, but effectively he just one shot at the little gnome, because the gnome just runs straight to the door if you're there and you're in the wrong combat mode. And so I had run all the way back from the village to there.
Well,
so annoying.
Tim Kaine retrochronically getting revenge for Gabe's tabletop campaign. This is exactly what you did to my character, you son of a bitch. You real hoarding ass motherfucker.
You deserved it. It was I have no regrets. But yeah, I agree. That was a top tier.
It felt natural, and there was like a sense of urgency to it as well.
Well, would you say overall, is Stillwater necessary? Because objectively, it isn't, right? But games can be gamey as long as it's the same diatribe of humor. You can say it as long as it's funny, right? What's the difference between like bad humor or good humor, right? Is it funny or not? Is it fun or not in this case? Like, yes, is it not diegetically like makes sense to have that one like really funny elf like be the only guy who knows what a Glimmering Forest is? Like you have to shit talk him. Like the humor in this game is like so well done, but for some reason I feel like I was discussing this earlier before recording. Like the humor in many ways would presage the humor in later Obsidian or modern day RPGs like Outer Worlds, for example. Like because the elf won't tell you where the Glimmering Forest is unless you have good rep with him, and the only way to have good rep with him is you shit talk with him or like be sarcastic, like because he's a grammar Nazi, if I remember his humor correctly. He's like, can I ask you a question? Well, can you? Because like the whole point is like, well, can is a capability to do so. Like he's actually really anal with your vocabulary, like big technically accurate words, and it's like both annoying and also really funny character trait for him to have. And secondly, you have to get the Stillwater beast pelt for him. So, but I'm curious, how do y'all get the information? Do y'all just like talk to him, or did you all just end up doing the Stillwater beast quest?
You can also kill him.
Oh, he was a bro. You didn't like him?
I fucking hate this guy.
You didn't think he was funny?
No, I did not think he was funny at all. Did you?
I thought he was hilarious.
You guys liked him?
I thought he was very funny. His name starts with a Q, right? I think I remember his name, right? It's Q something.
I thought he was charming, but he didn't leave a massive impression on me. Although on the point of Stillwater, I wish more of the locations had quests like this that kind of emerged as you went into the town. It made Stillwater feel a bit more alive than the other locations.
Yeah, compared to like Ashbury or Blackroot or whatever. This one definitely it has its own personality in a big way, right? It's got the blacksmith of the blacksmith quest, and has a weird little cult with the Geshiana people. They're like a sex cult. It's a very unique little place. I'd agree it's like not essential to the main plot, but this is a huge add to the game. Yeah, I found the character, he has a little bit of a charm, but it's just so gamey. He's like, he's the only guy that knows the way to the fucking capital, and he does these stupid little limerick games. It's not that it's not like appalling, but I found him annoying as fuck.
Dave, you're a grammar Nazi. You're a fucking grammar Nazi. He's you. Kind of he's you. You're meta. You're exactly that character.
Yeah, I was like, why is Gabe saying diegetic so much this episode? Did I just read the word diegetic before we started recording? I don't know.
Exactly, self-loathing right here. He has a diegetic representation of your personality traits.
Don't engage with him. Don't engage with him. It just makes him more powerful. I don't know. It was so. Here's what you can do. You can kill him, and there's a weird back loop where remember there was the lady in Shrouded Hills who says she's the herbalist in Shrouded Hills, and she says she's an elf, and she says if you ever see a necklace that says Nutella on it, bring it to me. And like so, I think he has that necklace, or he has something connected to it. So the whole thing is, if you lose your temper on this guy and kill him, you have to make this like really big logical leap to go back to meet a character you may have never met in Shrouded Hills to find a way forward. So that's like the background. We always talk about how, like with the Skylers or Schulers, however you say it, they have a receipt. If you kill them all, at least you can have the receipt. And the same thing with Bates. If you kill him, you can get his journal. This backup is really walkthrough-itis convoluted. But fortunately, the main quest, even though I'm shitting on it a little bit, it's straightforward enough. You just have to play with this dialogue until you get through it. And then you do the thing. And I actually found that you have to get. I think you have to get the fake pelt. I don't think there's any way around it.
Just get it. Just have an didactic memory, bro. Just remember that one random gypsy camp 10 hours ago on the tutorial down.
Eidetic?
That one too.
He's
Yeah.
talking about D words now.
No, I said eidetic. I said I missed. It's like
You said didactic.
Didactic. It's an didactic memory thing. You have to have like a perfect memory to remember that one gypsy bitch from the tutorial level.
Yeah.
No, it's eidetic. You said didactic.
Well, it's both.
It doesn't matter.
It's both
Picking
didactic.
me for didactic. Didactic is like a trigger word for me. So
Well, now it's didactic. Now we're leveling up from didactic. Now it's we need didactic fiction. Fiction that requires cartoonishly long-term memory. It's only for the most high IQ. It's fiction for 130 IQ Anglos only.
Oh, actually, I forgot there was I completely forgot on the North Trail. He sends you up there because he's like, oh, you have to bring me the Stillwater pelt. I forgot you have to go up and capture a bunny rabbit in a cage.
I love that quest. I love this quest so
funny.
much.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what about it is objectively funny, though? Because I played it because I completely forgot the last time I thought it was actually, like, for some reason, I thought it was turned into a werewolf because you fight a werewolf in the Wheel Clan. You do fight a werebeast or something like that because I end up doing solidarity with you, Dave. After talking with you afterwards, I did clear out the clan, or not the clan.
You did some dungeon slop.
I did some dungeon slop just for you for solidarity, and well, for me it was super easy, but since I had a whole ass posse, and you're going solo, right? You're still solo, aren't you, Dave?
No, I have Magnus. I have Magnus, and then I have the little gnome guy.
And
his name.
You left the femme cell to be.
I left. Yeah,
to be
I dumped her. I dumped her on the shores of the Isle of. No, actually, I didn't. I think I just ditched her in Tarant naked, just like I did with Virgil.
On that side character, I think the fact that she's underleveled is probably a part of her character, because she's supposed to be this like inexperienced, like young, or I mean, she isn't young, but she's supposed to be this inexperienced follower. So I think by the time you get to Durnholm, I think you are supposed to be kind of overleveled to take her in.
It's an element of ludonarrative harmony, right? It's supposed to be like that.
Yeah. That's at least my theory. Maybe it's
She's
bad
young.
design.
She's only 40, right?
Yeah, she's only she's still got a couple legs left. Yeah,
you're an absolute cradle snatcher. I mean, and also you, Sim, you also played relatively solo, right?
I have I have three. I have that girl, the half ogre that you get in Shrouded Hills,
Drunken Mead or Mead something. I forget his name.
Yeah, and
Sog,
Sogmead, yeah,
and the half orc that you get in the museum.
But yeah. You wasted you could have gotten a free fate point if you let him free.
No, he's I'm keeping him chained up. I know you can, but I'm keeping. He's leveled now. I need him. He's like one of my tanks. I have two tanks, and I'm DPS, and I have a healer chick.
Oh yeah. By the way,
I've got a team comp.
Twist reveal. By the way, Samsara is one of those guys that pays a female. He is the heel slut of his team.
Yeah, he's a prostitute. I wanted to add some variety, so I just went with a kind of like Bene Gesserit character that has high speech and stealth, and she uses melee.
Have you beat the game, by the way?
I'm towards the end, but I actually never. I almost never finish RPGs. I feel like the fun of these sorts of games, and this is probably where a lot of my critiques come from, is in the rest of the world. The main quest line is just sort of there as a general guide.
Well, actually,
but like
Emil would say the exact same thing in his speech for how Bethesda makes video games. That's exactly his approach to game design as well.
No. No, his point is that, like, if I'm remembering correctly, it's that people just want to go around like shooting things. Like they're not there for the story. I think the story is the most like crucial element. It's just the story should be the main quest line shouldn't be the only story element in the game.
Well,
there should be more depth on the periphery.
Well, according to you, it's the only thing you don't experience because you say you rarely play the stories for RPGs. You rarely finish them. So how do you know they're good if you haven't experienced them to the end?
No, I usually complete them once. I think I've beat Fallout 3 like twice. I beat Fallout New Vegas 5 times, but that's different because the main story in that is done so well that there's an impetus to complete it, I think.
Oh, so you're saying the main story for Fallout 3 is better than Arcanum's main story? Because you beat it twice.
No. New Vegas.
Well, you said, yeah.
Arcanum's main story, honestly, is like this bad. In my opinion, it's not.
Oh my god! See, he's Todd. He's Todd's sleeper agent. He's a zoomer. I thought I should trust you.
The main story in Arcanum has no sense of urgency. They try to spur you a little bit, but I never felt it. I never really cared about the main. Maybe it's because Virgil died. I think maybe Virgil had.
Yeah, you had the most cursed opening ever. Like,
yeah, he died when I was just trying to level my character.
You lost the buddy cop in the buddy cop movie.
Oh my god! Yeah, you had the like, you didn't even get the dog. You didn't even get the bulletproof teeth dog. Like, your beginning of your campaign was so cursed when you first described it to us.
They just can't hang.
Part of it is the end, though, because I would say it's a plot that the end actually makes a lot of the early stuff retroactively better, which is not something I say lightly. But the twist. I assume you don't know the twist, but the twist is like...
there's like this banished, like...
oh, don't spoil it. But okay, you're aware. But you're aware.
Yeah.
Okay. To me, the first time I played to completion, I was like, oh shit, that'll make so much sense, bro. I'm with you on your criticism of the pacing is not great.
I think that the Isle of Despair, that point in the game is where the main story should have ended. There should have been more density, and it should have been a little bit shorter, but it should have level gated you, so you were encouraged to explore the rest of the world.
I think I kind of agree. I don't know if I'd want to like end there, but to me that's where it like really falls off in terms of momentum. And it's like they should have. That's like the times are coming in for a landing rather than thus the muddled middle terminology I'm using for this whole part, because it's like there's some cool stuff ahead of us. Some of the stuff we're doing today actually is pretty good, but I get the feeling you could have just stuck some of it somewhere else. But anyway, I want to say a little on point with you guys mentioned party shift and how I'm a solo lord. You know, I'm not total solo lord, but I did ditch the fucking dog here. If you have the dog, he just makes this like noise every 10 seconds. It's so fucking annoying. I don't know how I played with that when I was little, but yeah, I ditched him outside of Stillwater because it's like, I can't handle this annoying sound.
Well, he starts howling because he's in the mountains.
I don't know if it's the mountains or just in general. I thought it was I thought it was in the game, but then I went somewhere else and he still did it, and I realized it was just a thing.
I think that could have been well done if he heard like wolves or something, you know, and he's like, that could have worked. But I don't know if that's what they were going for.
Emerging character building. I think I either just tune it out, or because when I do like a grindy, if it's not plot relevant, I do put on a podcast. I put on some slop podcasts like Library of Mass Destruction, for example. I put something like really like slop and just turn my brain off. And because I collect footage, because a lot of times when we're doing this, I want to get every permutation of the quest, you know, quest ending A, B, and C. I did that for the painting quest in Tarant, and I try to do it for the Stillwater Giant quest, and because I completely forgot what the Stillwater quest was about. I generally thought there was well, I guess it's just the spoiler episode to do it, because throughout the entire game, there's a reference to a Sasquatch-like creature called the Stillwater Giant. And you actually see the pelt of the Stillwater Giant in PT. I think it's PT Barnum. It's not BT. It's PT Barnum in this universe. And you see it in his fake museum. And it's a pelt that he made up. It's like literally just stitched together leather, basically. And so you go to the Stillwater Giant's home, where it's like their version of like what's the place in West Virginia with Mothman? It's like the Mothman town of this universe, the Stillwater. And Stillwater is such a cozy like RPG, like the quest. You got the gnome, not the gnome quest, the ogre quest y'all were discussing. The atmosphere of the town's very cozy. It's like you can make an Oblivion quest mod with it. You'd easily port everything from Stillwater into Bruma. Oddly enough, the atmosphere and the mood would not change much. You know what I mean? It's just oddly the like convergent evolution thing. I can easily see this in an FBS Bethesda like RPG in this town and done really well. And so I did the whole classic RPG thing, like, oh, I'm gonna go capture the bunny, or should I kill the bunny? Oh, if I kill the bunny, he's gonna turn into the werewolf. For some reason, I completely Mandela effect. I thought Stillwater Giant was real. So this entire time, I actually saved it. I went to the Archaeological Society. expert. He said it was bullshit. Had to go back to the crypto man creature. What's the term for like a fantasy creatures? Is it cryptozoologist?
Cryptid?
A cryptid, yeah, cryptid. So I go to the cryptid expert, and he starts crashing out. He's like, no. He starts seething. He's like, oh, he's bought. Maybe the Stillwater giant mind controlled him. Maybe he's in a cult. Maybe he's in on. Maybe he's just jealous of my genius. And he starts absolutely seething, and you're stuck. And remember, you have to cover yourself with bear piss. So when you go back to give, and the thing is, you can try to give it back to the elf, to the grammar Nazi elf. He's like, one, why do you smell like bear piss? And like, oh, here's a Stillwater giant. And he's like, that's a blue bunny. Like, no, I'm telling you, this is a Stillwater giant. You gotta believe me. And he'll tell you to fuck off. He's like, listen, I want a pelt of a Stillwater giant. Now get the fuck out. So you have a giant cage filling up like a large chunk of your inventory. And you have to go all the way to P.T. Barnum, pay him money.
In Tarant. So you're going halfway across the map. To
get this fake Stillwater pelt. And with the blue bunny in your inventory, which you could get rid of, but because I don't think you can actually do anything with them. Actually, can you skin the bunny? I think you actually can skin the bunny if you wanted to. I don't know if you can. Can you?
I don't think I did anything. I think I just dropped it. I think I just threw it in a trash can.
You just fucking murdered like an aborted blue bunny fetus. You just throw it into the goddamn trash can.
Yeah, but Gabe, you're saying you don't think it's real. You don't think the Stillwater giant's real?
No. The whole point of the humor of the quest is that the traditional Stillwater giant is not an actual real entity.
So you never met the Stillwater giant?
Oh, in that particular side quest. Actually, wait, are you fucking with me? Or is Stillwater giant? Is he real? Is he real?
Oh my god. Gabe doesn't know the Stillwater giant lore. Oh my god!
Oh wait, the ogre, the guy that killed by the ogre, was the ogre the guy? Was he Stillwater giant?
The ogre is the giant.
Oh, is he the giant?
No, it's a real Stillwater giant. It's actually locked. Deep lore. I dug into this. So you do this main quest just like you said, Gabe, and you turn it in. After you're done with this quest, the Stillwater giant is unlocked as a random encounter. And so if you run around Stillwater for a little bit, it'll pop up and you'll see a little blue bunny, and then it just turns into the Stillwater giant.
Oh, that's why that happened to me last when I first played the game. So yes, I thought that was imaginary. I thought, I must have, because I had very vivid memories of having that encounter.
Blood memories.
Oh my god! Okay, either this is a genuine Zoomer moment, or this is the most brilliant aspect of quest design ever. Right? Because I remember that exact encounter you're talking about, but then I thought that was a fake memory. Like, that must have been a Mandela effect when I completed the quest.
It's my mind.
It's one of your many hallucinations.
Yeah. It's real. It's real. It's all real.
Oh my god! Yes, I thought I was going to throw it in with my Adonis has come to stay as a Straussian like a fantasy theory. My rare misses.
That was a good theory though. All full credit. I didn't want to sidetrack, but I just want to make sure that the facts were out there. Our audience wasn't getting vaxxed or anything, or thinking that bad thing.
So it turns out you were the real Stillwater giant truther this whole time.
Yeah, I was keeping the candle burning. It's a little annoying you have to travel back and forth though, but it is a funny quest.
It makes the punchline hit harder. Like, I went all this way for fucking nothing.
Yeah,
but here's it'll go off soon.
Oh yeah, they needed a way to teleport you to specific parts. Like if you ping a quest or something in a specific area, they shoot encounters. It would have been worth it.
That's one of our earliest critiques was the lack of random encounters.
And the map is just so big, dude. It really is one of those, we made the whole map, so I guess we got to spread things out across this map.
Yeah.
And, maybe we could have everything in this game just be in the bottom corner, and then let our imaginations imagine what's in the other 70% of the map. It would feel a lot bigger than, running all these empty fields.
But the thing is, what's odd? That's an odd problem, is that modern day Obsidian or like big RPG still have that. Like Obsidian of Outer Worlds 2, as one of the 5 people who pre-ordered the $100 collector's edition of Outer Worlds 2. They also have it where it's a giant map where it's filled with little scrubs here and there of like enemies, aliens and shit like that. But it's mostly just barren. It's literally like, imagine like running through like the barren wastelands of Arcanum in 3D, except everything's Skittle. It's the opposite. Everything is brown in Arcanum. Everything is fucking Skittle vomit colored in Outer Worlds 2. It's the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of art design. And speaking of my favorite RPG of the year, Outer Worlds 2, And another aspect of it is why is this quest funny? Am I a secret millennial? Because when you think about the writing, I can eat this style of punchline and joke. Oh, this creature's actually the his little cute little blue bunny rabbit is actually the Loch Ness monster. Is actually Bigfoot. There's a quest like this with a giant mantis creature in Outer Worlds 2. And it's basically it's the same punchline where he ends up eating the egg and rather than actually transforming it to be his like little child sex slave thing. And because this style of humor, the punchline, even the whole mad scientist angle, it could exactly be done the exact same way, exact same payoff as this quest in Arcanum. Maybe the only reason why I think this is funny is maybe because of my, dare I say, my anti-woke brain rot. Maybe Outer Worlds 2 writing is actually good, but I don't like it because it has brown women in it. Or it's because it's voice acted. This entire punchline, you're doing it with whether you're doing with a tabletop RPG or with a CRPG, you're doing your voice acting the characters yourself. You're constructing the scene in your head. So when you see that you covered yourself in bear piss, and you hit the punchline of the cryptid creature expert, it turns out to be a madman. He's coping and seething. You can literally see his sprite in your brain dancing you around, like, no, this is not how it was supposed to go. And he's a Chudjak seething in the cabin. You're directing that image in your brain for the punchline. Well, with Outer Worlds, they get like very Reddit tier voice actors to do their most like high pitched Rick and Morty-esque voice acting impressions for the punchline, and therefore it deflates the humor. Even though this exact style quest is done in Outer Worlds 2 or Outer Worlds-esque RPGs, the punchline and delivery is far different.
I think the voice acting might be an element of it, but I think the major issue with Outer Worlds specifically is the fact that I don't think they have a single person on staff that's like under 35, and they're trying to ape sort of modern, like younger humor, and it just comes across as insincere. It's a sort of like "hello, my fellow kids" kind of effect, where it just feels very forced.
Yeah, I mean the only unk there is Leonard actually, and Tim Kaine has some hilarious stories of like some like mini boots in a bob esque girl literally trying to explain the art of Fallout, and it's like oh no, you don't understand, Leonard, I actually know the Fallout art design better than you. When Leonard's the
they
guy.
all seem pretty old. Are they younger than? They all seem like at least over 30. Like they're definitely all millennials.
Oh yeah, all of them are millennials. Like literally, the oldest person probably is like Leonard and Tim.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the issue. Like they're trying to go for like more Zoomer humor, but it just comes across as like forced.
I haven't played the game, but does it have an edge? Because I would also assume it's safe horny humor, whereas this game does get to kind of weird places when it's funny.
No, I don't think there's any safe horny.
It's sexuality is, well, other than the asexual wholesome chunkus dating simulator quest in Outer Worlds 1, there really isn't any horniness per se in
I don't mean actual horny. I mean safe horny in the sense of like, is there any like World War II posters used as in-game assets kind of style?
That's Leonard Boyarsky's bread and butter. Absolutely, bread and butter. He's done that in every game he's ever done. But the point is, it's not written differently. I could see this quest, the Stillwater Giant quest line joke with the exact same punchline being done in the Outer World setting, very easily, one for one. The whole mad scientist angle. Well, the correct scientist would be a woman probably, and but other than the quote unquote woke elements,
and therefore not funny.
Yeah, Christopher Hitchens speaks of this exactly. but I like. Am I correct in that, is this a classic case of old thing good, new thing bad? Or I generally think it's a voice acting problem. It's like with, again, something is funny. Again, you're doing the voice acting in your head. So it relies on, you have to construct a joke in a way that it gets the reader. It's a literal gut punch. While there's much more steps to have with a voice acting problem.
No, I think you're right. I think if the voice acting is done poorly, it detracts from it for sure.
Yeah, I think Old Thing isn't that good actually in this case in terms of the dialogue delivery. The bits, the quest as a bit was funny, and like the insane guys rant, but the Something about having to click next, I think, also breaks up the flow of humor a little bit in a way that I don't think works really well. Like, there's funny books. Like, I always reference P.G. Woodhouse's writing as like a funny, but it's, you can just flow through the page. It's always very dialogue heavy, and there's a lot of narrative description. Whereas when you're in game and you're getting dialogue fed to you via text, you lack the narrator's ability to offer humor. You're the narrator, right? So you have to have the context of the quest. So you're the narrator giving the humor to it. And so that limits actually like the ability for the dialogue to have humor to your own context. So it's harder. Maybe that, I think that might, I'm kind of like stumbling on the reason I think the later parts of this chain are funnier than the early parts when it's just the guy grammar Naziing you. I just don't find that as because the way it's written is not particularly flavorful. The joke is the way he's acting.
This is an interesting point. Like, if I could have like a remaster of this game, one of the top things on my list was just making sure that everything was voiced. But maybe that's a bad idea unless the voice acting is done very well. That's actually, it's a good point.
Yeah, that's a Zoomer instinct in you. You got kicked back against the worst of our people's traits.
I'm for it, for the record, too. I think actually it would add a lot. And you know what else, dude? On this thing, I meant to bring this up last time. In terms of dialogue, the other zoomy that I'm in favor of is why don't we have pictures? Even if it's a fucking AI picture, I'm gonna go there. I would take AI pictures of all the characters next to their dialogue, like you get in what's the one the zoomies
Disco
love?
Elysium.
Disco Elysium. Thank you. It doesn't have to be that great of art, but just something so you have something to associate rather than just a bubble floating above a fairly generic sprite.
And expressions as well. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, so that their mood is indicated and stuff.
But that's too big of an ask to have expressions, because you're just going to get the oblivion problem yet again with the persuasion wheel.
You only need like maybe 10 variations for each character.
Yeah, this is probably even for just main characters. Like for the guy who gives you the quest to get the ring in Tarant. Remember, he's like a little throwaway quest. You just have one picture of that guy because he's just someone you talk to like twice. Get a quest, deliver a quest. But for Virgil, have like a couple different variants. And honestly, with AI, you probably could just gin that up really easily from the base image.
It would be really straightforward. You only need maybe like 120 images, even to cover like NPCs, 120 images and then 10 variations on each image. That's 12. That sounds like a lot, but with AI, that'd be really straightforward, I think.
Well, as the resident, strict trad convert, the overzealous convert, I would kneel on that aspect, because the first character I would like to see is Gilbert Bates, because Gilbert Bates has he has an emotional center. He's actually a major character in his whole universe. So having his character, big mustache Monopoly man, having a portrait right next to his dialogue box would actually fill him out as a character anchor, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll concede on the character portrait with dialogue. I actually will concede on that point.
But no VA.
No. The VA would be. The thing is,
depends how it's done.
It depends how it's done. It depends if they get like someone like Dasha did one for Disco Elysium, right? So they. That's
the bar.
If it features my favorite E-celeb E-girls as a guest star. Listen, I'll only like it if the entire cast of Critical Role if voice acts in this game. Get Lauren Bailey to voice act in this game, and I'll get my slop satisfied.
Every companion needs to have vocal fry.
Absolutely. Get Lauren Bailey, Felicia Day. For the younger Zoomers out there, before there was Laura Bailey, there was Felicia Day. She was the e-girl of the gaming of the Wholesome Chunkus Reddit millennial era back in the old days.
Remember, I was there. I was wholesome at the time. If you guys are good, let's keep cruising. I want to do.
Actually, I would like to suggest real quick a final verdict on the muddling middle part. Is Stillwater at the end of the day necessary?
We're still muddling, by the way. Like, we have more muddling, in my opinion. But you want to do just a vote on Stillwater?
Yeah, just on Stillwater itself. Is Stillwater necessary to experience? Or because I think it's charming enough. It's such a good. Oddly enough, you're right. It's just like the opening village in terms of the coziness of it. It's an oddly very cozy thing, right when it's supposed to be very dramatic, when his story is getting quote unquote serious. And so
Mm.
I don't know. I love Stillwater. I actually think it's so charming. I do like that brief moment of like happy, just like fuck it, let's just find Bigfoot and cover ourselves with piss and end up catching a bunny instead. I thought it was a welcome reprieve of the serious plot fagging going on at the time. But so I find it charming enough where I think it's necessary. If it was done in any other way, I would say cut the fuck out of Stillwater. But since I found it so charming, I like the world design. I like the look of the town. It's a very cozy side mission area. So I say it's not a muddling middle. I say it's a gemmy grain. It's a gemmy grain field amongst the muddy fields, actually.
I would agree. Yeah, it isn't necessary, I guess, but it's. I wish there were more locations like Stillwater where there's a sort of scripted side quest that sort of has a sense of urgency, similar to the bank robbery, I think, in Shrouded Hills.
Yeah, I'm right, because Ashford doesn't have its own version of bank robbery. It doesn't have a bank robbery thing. You're right in that. Like Stillwater has the bank robbery. Stillwater has the Bigfoot quest. Tarant has all the good quests of the game, basically. But I guess you can. How about the southern town, the trad town with the king?
Durnholm.
Durnholm. Well, Durnholm has the major Return of the King Cat quest, or the just stay trad despite the modern age literally killing you.
Yeah, that quest, by the Durnholm quest, that is a massive missed opportunity. I wish that Return of the King quest was a longer, more drawn out, sort of like minor quest line.
And you can actually see the effects of choosing one side or the other, like emergently
yeah,
in
like
the
a
world.
little mini civil war in Durnholm. That would have been cool.
That could be.
Yeah, you could have had like factions, like sub factions within it that you have to connect with. Yeah, I can see a lot of potential there for sure.
Like you can actually see electric street lamps when you choose the Reformation King,
progressive,
the woke king. You choose the woke king, and so there's all electric street lamps everywhere. Like the Dragon Knights have to give up their armor and sell it for guns. They replace the statue of the king with like a steamwork, like automaton statue. Like that actually would be a good idea. Well, the thing is, we're just having like a wish list for more. Like that's the best.
Yeah.
That's both the best critique and the worst critique. Is like we wanted more of X. It's just we just wanted more of Arcanum-esque things, more reactivity. But there's a lot. Actually, would you say there's a lot of like a trademark reactivity in Arcanum, or no?
There are within the quest lines, but,
major quest lines.
Outside of that, outside of that, no.
Yeah, but there's no emergent reactivity. Yeah.
I did want to comment on the Stillwater thing. You know, is it the muddled middle? I mean, I say it is, but I also want to qualify when I say muddled middle. I'm not saying it's bad content. Like, Wheel Clan actually I think was mostly bad. Qintarra actually I think is mostly good, but I think it's also muddled. Like what it makes it muddled to me is that you're always constantly traveling to places that are pretty small and there's not a ton going on. So I think it's part of that broader thing where it's like you show up and then you're zipping back to Tarant for like one conversation, so zipping back here. Because of the travel stuff we mentioned, it bogs it down. So I think it's part of that broader thing. But I agree, it's basically Shrouded Hills 2.0. Like it's got all the things I liked about Shrouded Hills. We kind of skimmed over, but there's a whole sex cult there. And you have to go hunt down the incel who stole the goddess statue, which is really fun. And there's 3 ways you could solve it. I knew that. I'm sure, Gabe, you were like jumping. You were like, "Oh God, it's just like me for real." You were losing your mind during that part.
No, I remember that. No, the thing is, remember with Build-A-Bomb, he is a stone cold incel. We all remember what happened last time when he tried to talk to a woman. And so I actually,
on fire.
Out of role playing, I did not do that quest with this current character. I did.
Oh wow, commitment.
Probably with Magnus Melkor, probably my Dark Elf character, I probably will do that quest.
Remember, my guy's ugly, so he's all about the beauty blessings. I was planning on just stealing the statue and keeping it forever, but I think the mod debuffed it because the statue only gave, I think, 1 beauty or something. So it actually wasn't that useful to me.
You got your high heels of Hebe. You got your beauty statue just to increase your beauty to like 4. I have no idea what your beauty stat is actually.
What's your beauty stat? 3, I think.
Oh, so you would get up to with the statue plus your high heels of Hebe. It would get it to what, 5?
Yeah, I think so. Which still is a bit of a penalty because eight is the default. I think you still get a negative at 8 or a 0. Um, so yeah, people just hate my guy still. But even with the Hebe necklace, but I think that was it for Tarant. You turn in the fake skin, or you do that whole necklace thing I mentioned. You find a location of Qintarra, and they say you have to go through Hardin's Pass. And the whole reason, Sim, you're here on this episode, I think around Christmas time, we message each other because we're like, oh yeah, we'll do it at some point, but like, when are we going to do it? And then you said, like, oh, I have something. Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like you said I have something to say about getting to Qintarra. Is this the part that you were referring to?
Yeah. It's drawn out. I remember spending like an hour on this section because I couldn't find the actual opening to the pass. There was zero direction in like actually pointing you like where you're supposed to go. This is probably one of the worst designed like sections of the game.
Bro, I literally walked the wrong direction from the entrance.
Same.
I literally went, what was it, east? You're supposed to go west, but I didn't even know. So you just spawned standing between some trees and rocks.
Yeah.
I went north along the mountains.
Yeah,
and then south along the mountains, and I still couldn't find it. And then north along the mountains again, I still couldn't find it.
Dude, you can walk north of the mountains. I did the exact same thing you did, dude. You could walk north of the mountains for a good hot minute. Like,
Yeah.
They will let you fuck up for a long time going the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Well, again, isn't this a passive player moment? Because the map clearly shows that the glittering forest is west of the area. So
yeah, it just doesn't look like it though.
maybe
And like the valley, I think should have been more like distinct. I think maybe it was a limitation of the art assets or something. It should have been more obvious. So there should have been like a waypoint. There should have been something like that.
No.
God's law strikes again.
You can find other ways of like achieving the same result. I think the best way to do it is just with good level design, but I understand that there were technical limitations. I think that, or at least like a voice line from one of the companions, something like that. That gave you an idea of like, oh, I'm supposed to go in that direction specifically.
Here's my thing, dude. Like, why do we even need this? Like, what? Who?
Yeah.
Like, aren't people going to this thing? What's the purpose of, as a player? Why do I need a gorilla-filled valley? And then, as in lore, like, do people just not go between these sides of the world?
I think they wanted to gate it. And if it was just a valley that you could travel through on your overworld map, it wouldn't have gated that.
Yeah.
It would made it too easy, basically.
Well, you could have traveled to that section of the map before the point in the major quest line or the main quest line where you're supposed to do that, which is another, that's my main gripe really, is that they section chunks of the map off that just seem unnecessary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess that's a form of level scaling they were pursuing. So you start in the main, or you start in Tutorial Island in Shrouded Hills, and then you're in broadly the level like 6 to level 25 or 30 range in the whole middle area, right? And then it's like level 30 plus is on the west side, like the Caledon side and Qintarra and Caledon, and then like there's a high level zone we go to at the end of the game on the other side, like the far east of the continent. And yeah, it's like I think that's what they were going for, and I think you're right. That probably was the concept. Is let's just block it with a bunch of level 40 gorillas. Just have a packs of ice yeti gorillas. They're called yetis. They're called yetis on this part, but obviously just reskin gorillas. But it just seems so crude to me. I would legitimately rather just have a speak friend and enter gate that's like, oh, you have to know the magic word before you can cross here, or some shit like that.
But they can't do it twice because they did it with the wheel clan with the glasses. They already did. You can't do
it. Should have been a random encounter when you go through that valley. That you just encounter yetis, and if you go there at too low of a level, you just get killed. It should have just been a random encounter. It could have been treated similarly to,
and that's it.
Yeah, it could have been treated similar to and as a random encounter, you wouldn't have to actually navigate that whole region in the local map. It could have been like the the death clause in New Vegas, right, where you can't travel directly towards Vegas because it's basically gated by enemies that are overleveled.
Stealth boy chud.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's fine if there are ways around it, but if the point of that section of the map was to gate it, so people don't sort of go too far afield from the main quest line, by the time that you understand how to get past it, by whatever means, whether it's some particular spell or whatever that's good against Yetis, that person's probably played the game more than once, so it becomes unnecessary at that point.
Yeah, they're already exploiting. And I'm looking at the map, and it's basically literally just a straight line, but then you have these little kind of cul-de-sacs on either side as you go. There's 3 sets of them just to fuck with you. So you zip down, and then you just find 6 ice wolves down here. You find there's only one item of interest on the entire fucking map, and it's a dead body with a cursed hexed axe that's not even good. And that's it.
Environmental storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, because by then you have a pyro. If you're doing a tech build, you have the pyrotechnic axe at that point, and literally no item in the game afterwards will be of interest to you afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, at least no melee weapon will be of interest to you
it's got
afterwards.
terrible speed, 5 speed. Yeah, it's useless as a weapon.
I was curious, by the way, Sim, is there any gendered content in Stillwater that's any different for you?
The prostitution quest line is gendered. Some of the interactions, I think the boy, I think sections of the boil are gendered, but I didn't play a male character for very much of the game. I made a secondary account or a secondary character that was male, but I didn't go through most of the game with it, so I couldn't really tell you. The prostitution stuff is for sure gender specific.
Yeah, a gentleman's club in Tarant. When you told me that, I'm like, oh, fuck, that's such a great touch.
So you can get into it, but you have to get the slip by other means. There's a quest that I think you have to either steal it or you have to make friends with the owner or something. I think you get blackmail on the owner, and he gives you a pass.
Oh, that's cool.
She gives you a penis pass.
And it's not even that much of an essential area, too. I just love that they just randomly gated by gender a section because of in lore. That was a thing at the time.
At least there weren't a lot of.
Yeah. And I didn't have to. I didn't get attacked by the women on the Isle of Despair either.
Oh yeah.
Oh right. Yeah. The white scarf that Gabe put on.
They're calling you a pick me. You're the one pick me allowed. On Radfem Hitler Island. Yeah. It's such a great touch, stuff like that, which is a little just it's like you get to compare it to modern RPGs. Like you mentioned, you were discussing this earlier, Samsara. Like in Fallout 4, for example, you can have a whole ass synth companion and go to capital of we hate synths, we hate all robo niggas, the faction. And there's random voice lines of people acknowledging his existence, I think. But other than that, you don't get any shit. You're not limited in any which way. Nothing. You're having a whole ass Robo Man with you the entire time.
Yeah, you need like a mugging or something to happen. It's something that's reactive.
Not even a fucking speech check or like a bribery or anything. There's things like that. You actually not only does it acknowledge it, you actually do have to jump through a hoop just to get into the damn building as a woman.
If you guys are good there, let's keep bopping. I want to just knock out some of these like key plotties we got here.
Oh, the only reason why I brought that up. I'm sorry, just the reason why I brought it up. You should have been allowed to sleep with the Greymoor Nazi to get through. Seduced to
you can sleep with the that charm.
Really?
Which
you
one?
Can sleep with that hung gnome. Yeah.
Oh, with the ring. Yeah.
He's got like a 12-incher apparently.
Yeah, he has a ring of constitution on him. If you take his pocket, like he just keeps banging all day long. He's got Cialis or whatever it is.
A gnome on the street, giant in the sheets.
The Harvey Weinstein of Tarant.
Yeah. You got the egg cock. Okay, Qintarra. I always said Qintarra, but then I just realized there's like no other use. I'm trying to say it right now.
Qintarra.
Possibly, I was going to say, it's possibly the most sexual location because this has a female voiced character who's very horny in a way.
Very Indian coded of you, of David, of hearing a woman's voice.
Yeah. You fucking bitch. You fucking tree. It's kind of a small town, actually. I think space wise, it's probably as large or larger than Stillwater, but in terms of actual content, there's like very little going on here and very few NPCs. You show up at the gate if you're a halfling king, a manlet king. They actually just let you in. They comment like, "Oh, it's too long since a halfling has visited our fine village." I mean, hopefully humans got roughed up a little bit at the gate. Otherwise, you just get brushed right in.
You get some. I was a half elf female. You do get some characters that are prejudiced towards you for being half human.
Did you
And
should have
it
been
is
Papa?
specific to being half elf. Yeah. You do get, and there. I distinctly remember one person mentioning how like, oh, I don't mind like half breeds or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Let me guess.
So that was nice.
Human father.
Dude, I get called a half breed all the time too. My guy's a halfling. He's a pure halfling, but they just slur you if you're ugly. Everyone just calls you a half breed anyway.
I love to see, but let's chew on that for a second. The fact that even the half breeds have their own unique dialogue. We're going to the pure elf city. That's just fucking great touch.
There's only a few. It's at the gate when you first go in.
Yeah, it's the very fact that you put
give
it
extra
there.
attention to that gate guy to give you some reactivity, which is good. Like it makes you feel like you're entering a foreign country because they comment on your nationality.
But it kind of ends there, to be honest.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel super distinct.
It's a good little chud. It's a good little chud chow treat to just at least reference it in there. It's a bone to be thrown at the very least. The fact that they acknowledge the half races, because most of the time half races don't get acknowledged. If you play as a full elf, you get a lot of acknowledgement for talking to fellow elves, dwarves with dwarves again. But stuff like that, even the half things, at least you can. If you play as a half X thing, you at least have an X event to reference. So you have at least one thing to reference to, in terms of reactivity.
A lot of that in modern games, I think, is just down to voice acting. It just becomes exponentially more expensive if you add variation.
And again, another common unvoiced W. The fact you have so much more variety when it's unvoiced.
Yeah,
I mean, it is true.
Really. Qintarra's, I mean, let me know if there's anything that jumped out to you guys, but what the big thing is, there's the whodunit, where there's a dwarf apprentice whose master's killed. And you have to solve the mystery. And then there's a hunter is missing. So the hunter leader is like, oh, this hunter went off to fuck knows where, way off. And have a nice walk. Can you figure out where he went? I think that's pretty much it. And then there's the main quest, which is talking to Raven, my wife.
My biggest critique, other than the Bob and Vagine Raven, is the fact that the aesthetics. I like the aesthetics and look of the settlement, but
visually it's gorgeous. For this game, this is like finally some color, some green.
Yeah, dude, it's the 90% brown. We got it down to 70% brown. It's a lighter shade of brown. Like. If we're this is one of the examples I wish for a remake, because imagine this like in a 3D engine. Like for example, everyone's favorite engine Unity. Imagine Unity remake of Arcanum in the Unity assets with the swaying of the trees. Maybe get some flowers in there. Like instead of 2 colors on screen, maybe we could even have 3 or even 4 colors on a map at the same time in Arcanum.
I wouldn't mind if it was still 2D. I just like you can still get like tree swaying and stuff in 2D. I think it would detract from the it would be like the Berserk remake where like when I think it would lose a lot of its character if you transferred from 2D to 3D. You can make things look better in 2D.
What I was saying is it's the depth, because you're supposed to be high up in trees in the background. I want to see more contrast between the trees you're on and the background sea of trees underneath you.
Well, you can fake that like in 2D. You don't need 3D to do that. You just need more art assets, which I don't think that would be that hard to do.
Yeah, it's the Cain curse of just we want more of the same thing you're giving us. We're ungrateful children of Cain.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of my critiques are just like they can mostly be discounted for the time that it was made. Like this is what, like 90.
This is 2001.
2001.
Yeah, but this is old looking for the time though. Like everything else coming out at the time, if you look at the contemporaries, it's people are switching to 3D or kind of they're having motion of 2D assets to create like more sense of an alive setting.
Well,
this really is like almost like they were doing another stab at Fallout in a way, and like just like applying lessons learned.
Yeah, I mean, 2 years after this would be Morrowind. So,
wow,
that's how quote unquote outdated Arcanum is at this point in time.
It was their first game, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's their own studio.
Yeah. Troika's first game, and then we'll drag you to Temple of Elemental Evil eventually, and then it was Temple, and then it was Vampire, and then it was Curtains.
Yeah. Oh, 2001 also coming out. Halo Combat Evolved, Grand Theft Auto 3, Gran Turismo, Final Fantasy X. So really. Silent Hill 2. I mean, visually, where the way things were going, this was like a throwback already as it came out. But go ahead.
No, this isn't Unk Core. This is Grand Unk Core.
Unk Slop. Oh, that fucking triggering people put on social media. Oh, Unk Slop category. You know what it is, and I love it. I would say that Qintarra is solidly muddled middle for me because it's minimal in content and actually in the character. This is where I wanted to get into it. Like, what are the elves? Like, how are they different? You don't get a ton. Raven comments a little bit about how we're the good elves and we conceptualize, everyone has their place in society. That's kind of pretty much what you get. And then the only other flavor you get in the elves is, which is interesting, but it's never explored in the whodunit quest,
the Leo Frank quest.
Yeah, the Leo Frank quest is a dwarf apprentice, completely misjudged, short, greedy humanoid. I guess dwarves aren't that greedy, but his master's dad, who did it? You investigate, and then you talk to what is it? She's like the apothecary, and it looks like her husband might have done it. And if you search her inventory or their chest, you find like the poison vial. Okay, he did it. But as you do that, there's like an interesting rumor where she says the other elves treat her weirdly because she's married. I guess other elves don't marry. And which is like, okay, that's interesting. So like, how does this society work? Like, how are children raised? There's no children in this game because Germany's laws about protecting children, I guess. But it was kind of a juicy nugget, but there was nothing behind it. And that's really it for the elves. And then everything else is just boilerplate elf. Oh, I have an elf hunter who's lost. Find the elf hunter. The elf hunter has no flavor. We have a holy ground, Falcon's Ache, we go to in a second. It's just holy elven ground. For me, it was a total snooze in that way. I thought the questing, it was interesting enough, like the hunter, where you go on the hunter quest, but it's pretty solidly, I find it very muddled. And also
generic.
The whole Silver Lady thing, I find muddle maxing actually. I don't know if you guys have anything else on just Qintarra as like a city and a location.
Well,
yeah, actually, I would agree with everything.
I was going to say, do you think James Cameron actually plagiarized Arcanum when making Avatar?
Because they're in a tree.
Think about it. Tree, like an enlightened, super tall, right? Because the elves, I think, are canonically tall in Arcanum. I think they're referenced to Elvis' height, I think, in the game. Right?
I think so, yeah.
Elves are tall, living in trees, are in one with nature, live on top of trees. And humans are the entire reason why they hate humans is because humans have developed technology and are sort of tearing down their forests, right? The dwarf, the dwarf daddy dwarf in the Wheel Clan even mentions this as a particular reason of why the dwarves were sent out, went to incel jail. Was because the dwarves gave the technology secrets. The Yakub sent them away because the evil dwarves gave technology to the white man. So Yakub punished the dwarves, right? So the elves are light-skinned Yakubian avatar blue furries, right? So and again, Torah and the planet's name is Pandora. It literally rhymes. And James Cameron has a history of plagiarism. Remember, he did plagiarize Terminator from Harlan Ellison, right? This is a very famous event where he admits in an interview in 1990 something where he did say he was inspired by Harlan Ellison's short story for the Terminator. So he has a history of plagiarism.
I think you're reading into this too much. I don't think James Cameron's played Arcanum.
I mean, they both stole Dance from Dances with Wolves. There's like kind of the noble savage thing. All these things are pulling back on where they're kind of standing for like a Native American-y type society, which works because they're not technological, right?
Magical.
Yeah. But they don't really magic. I guess magic's supposed to be waning, so they're kind of they're losing their grip. They're losing their power. Actually, that is one thing that bothers me a little bit. Like, why are they so Native American-y? Like, these people ruled. They was kings 1,000 years ago. Everyone were bent the knee to them. They were super organized or something. But then now they're just getting chased away by loggers, right? And that's what the whole Falcon's Egg thing. We talked to Raven. We're like, hey, I want to do the next type of the main quest. And you talk to the Silver Lady, your mother, and she says, oh, you can if you do one quest. So you have to go to Falcon's Egg, which is like a little holy ground they have. And yeah, there's just these douchebag loggers, and the elves just can't do anything about their lands being bought out from under them. It's another one of those incongruous things in my head with the setting of Arcanum, where it's like, so what's going on? Are the elves just completely outside of the legal framework of the kingdoms? They don't have any army? I think it would make sense.
If their society relied heavily on magic and the magic just doesn't work anymore, it would be almost apocalyptic for them. And they would like regress in a sort of like Canonical Fleetwoods kind of way.
It would if that was depicted, but it's very much supposed to be a subtle decline in magic from what I've seen. So it's like, for me, I need more justification from the game to make it make sense, because it just itches at me.
Well, for meta reasons, I guess it's a meta thing, but Tim Kaine literally does say that when magic is, there's literally less magic existing in the world. Like, the magical levels of the world itself is being depleted slowly and slowly.
Yeah, but the ruins of that, like, prior civilization should still exist.
True. That is true. Like, I think in game they also mentioned that the elves are slowly losing their magic. So, like, what you do with poor little elf boy in a logger context makes sense. But you're right. Like, especially in their home turf, they should still have a lot of magical capabilities to take out two dumb loggers.
Ruins of like just massive temples that are like covered in like vines and stuff.
Yeah,
they're things that were like being suspended in midair by magic that are like collapsed, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree with Samsara here. We're very critical of Arcanum. Is Arcanum, dare I say, a bad RPG now?
Oh, fuck off. This ties back to my the first episode, the other one I made was, Walkthroughitis. And then I made that comment about the setting of Arcanum and this, like, the whole other continent. And I had this, like, issue about the vagueness of, like, what's going on over there. I think it's coming back to me that the setting of Arcanum is, like, pretty fundamentally flawed. As another reason I don't think it's ever going to get a sequel. It's a perfect pitch and a core mechanic. So the pitch, Tolkien steampunk, and the core mechanic, part of that pitch is like magic and tech are in conflict as natural laws. That is a beautiful, perfect. It gets me so excited. But then as a setting with specific characters and cohesive locations, internal lore, it's very haphazard. It's very D&D smashed. Some of these cities don't even make that much sense with some of these other towns and dynamics. And it, like, lacks a little bit of that care. And I think that's part of the reason the later half, what I call the muddled middle, gets so muddled, is because this setting doesn't feel as, the pieces don't fit together quite as perfectly. And it just, like, I had these little needling thoughts. Like, I forget, there's one early in the episode I mentioned. And then there's this one, there's like needling thought. Oh yeah, like, how do you get to Qintarra? And then another needling thought of, like, wait, it's the elves, like, they don't even have any kind of, like, way to, like, protect themselves or engage with the world. I understand they're on their back foot politically, but they're so on their back foot that they're getting pushed around by a logging company.
Yeah, there aren't a lot of active conflicts. The world doesn't really feel alive. I think what they could have done is just only included the part of the map that's gated by mountains that are like, just get rid of Glimmering Forest and Gray Mountains, and maybe save those chunks of the world, like fill in the details in those chunks of the world in later games. Because I think lore in particular kind of benefits from being spaced out, because you get time to think about things and to sort of account for different contingencies, because people will talk about, like, people will sort of speculate. And you can avoid those little gaps, I think, if you have more time.
Yeah, I kind of agree with both, because think about it, the only places I feel lived in, you're right, because there is like these plot holes. Like Dave, in a previous episode, you mentioned that there's a castle filled with undead, like right next to the town, if I recall correctly. Yeah. Remember, it was like filled with undead just randomly. Yeah, in Ashbury. The only places I feel it really lived in, that I feel like time has progressed, and you can see the effects of time progressing, is Durnholm and, of course, Tarant. This is where they both, the areas and the characters feel lived in. I'm a gnome in this big city, and here's the ethnic conflicts going on. Of course, famously with Tarant and the Orcish workers, right? Famously. You feel like time is passing, and that time has passed in the case of Durnholm and with Tarant. But in any place that's not like that, or like the Black Mountain Clan, or anything dealing with the major plot, everything feels like generic fantasy to a certain degree. You don't feel like, for example, how is Stillwater affected by, like, industrialization? It really isn't.
Yeah, it's very outside of it. Even Shrouded Hills actually is pretty plugged in, but Stillwater is not. Stillwater could be, you guys mentioned earlier, you could plug and play that in any game or setting, and it would do fine. But it doesn't really contribute to that here. And I'm not even clear, is it part of the United Kingdom in this setting? It's not even played out or mentioned.
Yeah, the politics are extremely vague in the game.
Yeah, again, politics as we know it only exists for 3 locations. Asbury, because Asbury is like the vacation spot. They reference it as a vacation spot. And in fact, it used to be Durnholm's, and now it's being slowly cucked by Taranti and the Merchants Guild to slowly take over Ashbury. Yeah, in terms of pure capital P politics, it literally is Tarant and Durnholm, and that's basically it. Those are the 2 political, like, quote unquote political factions, really. If you count the dwarves, like, solely like dealing with the technological, like, development of mankind, I guess you can also count the DeWiel clan and stuff like that. But in terms of the politics of the world, of what happens when again, their nugget of the idea is there. But yeah, we want more, Mr. Cain. We want more exploration of the politics of slowly of the industrial revolution in a token world.
They feel like city-states to me more than they do. It's very strange. Like, you don't see the, like, Tarant guards. They don't seem to have a presence, like, beyond the city. It's very weird.
Exactly,
like you said.
How does the rail system work? What's Aragorn's tax policy?
We could probably guess the gnomish tax policy. Lived experience. No, but I think, Sim, you had a good point about, it's like they try to fit too much in. You go that broad, you try to get every kingdom in its entirety or represent it, and then it just ends up feeling really flat in those other places. Because there's like the human realm of this sort of southern part is so fleshed out, but then the dwarves, I had all my bitching about that, even though I think Gabe, you mounted a good defense of it. And I think the elves even more so. And and just all the zipping around. Okay, I think that clarifies my muddling. And I don't want to be too negative on it, but I think it's also natural with Arcanum, because I think it has a really strong first third or so. And I think we're just kind of getting into that late game. I think as my memory actually, it gets good again. This is still good. Actually, I had fun playing this, to be clear. It just,
same.
It's just interesting to think through, like, plot wise, why this stuff is, like, less gripping.
Yeah, we're basically just plot hole hunting. Like, we really are just nitpicking plot holes at this way. Again, the plot holes we're finding they do demand an answer, or they do demand. But the thing is, it's so easily fixable. Like, these aren't plot, like, nuke craters. You know what I mean? It's like we literally are nitpicking at this point. In terms of, like,
and just thinking through where the time and stuff was spent, it's an interesting kind of exercise. Actually, funny enough, Cain had that video about people that overanalyze. I actually did think of, I was like, oh shit, is that me?
Was that a diss track against the Cain Corner?
Yeah, I was just thinking, is Tim Cain listening and just, like, seething? For me, it sounds like we're still having fun. There's a joy in just like chewing on like where things didn't fit and could have been done better. And with Qintarra, it's very emblematic of some of these things. Like the city. Well, let's do the side quest first, and then one with like the Silver Lady and we kind of zip out. Falcon's Ache has a fun gimmick actually, where you have to have them attack you and then they die, because there's like a curse that anyone that tries to attack anyone there will be attacked. So you also have to like you leave your party members behind, so because they're dumb AI, they'll just attack, because that's the kind of game this is, which makes it a little bit awkward. But whatever, at least it has a unique puzzle. And then the other one is the Hunter Quest, where you want to do some traveling. You want some random encounters with some gorillas. Are you in luck, man? You're going to cross the entire fucking northern end of the continent, the entire Glimmering Forest, to go to one little lizard camp where the Bedokin have a guy captured. Did you guys do this? Did you guys have any thoughts on this?
I did not do the Hunter Quest, because I also remember how fucking ball draggingly like a fetch quetchy he was.
Yeah, I missed the Bedokin quest.
You didn't miss too. Actually, you know what? It was kind of fun. I did it both ways. So you go out there, you talk to them. They say, "Oh, we're being poached by you smoothskins," and so you can either help them or you can kill them. But it's actually cool because you can go to the poacher camp, because the poacher is actually killing this sapient species and then turning them into leather purses, like crocodile skin purses.
Oh.
By the way, the sprites are hideous for the Bedokin.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I guess I kind of remind me. I'm gonna have to backtrack, because you have to do the Bedokin quest line to do Magnus's quest line, if I recall correctly, right?
Oh, I don't know. I've never finished Magnus's quest line.
Oh yeah, because remember, you have to craft a certain ancient Dwarfus item to get somewhere in order to do Magnus's quest line.
I think you're right. Yeah, you get a Hearthstone or something like that, which I think I just threw in a trash can as well. So I might be fucked on that. Because I didn't know that until I read a guide like yesterday as I was preparing for this.
So I'm going to have to do the Argonian side quests.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty fun one, because you can just massacre them in their village, or you can go and you can massacre the poachers. You might be able to, I bet you can riz them too. I bet you anything there's a Caniac, dialogue option. Or you could be a dickhead. You could side with the poachers, then massacre the people, which I did just for fun, and it works out perfectly well, and you just get an extra money. But anyway, it's just a classic kind of Fallout 3 or so solution quest. The guy goes home, and you go home and you get some gold, and you can save. It actually comes up in the end slides, and it's like a notable part of it. They can join society.
On the point about quest items, though, today they would probably create some separate inventory system where it's like a note or something that where you can't throw it away. It's just something that's permanently attached to your character.
But they're also weightless.
Yeah. But there's something. I'm kind of torn on this. There's something cool about being able to botch quests like that, where you completely fuck everything up. But there should be some alternate branch that opens up when that happens.
Okay, actually, so we're kind of like just getting to late game blues stuff here. But what is your guys' inventory system? Like, because there's just so much shit. Like, how do you deal with it?
I don't. I do have a stash somewhere where I'm just hoarding items now, because I realized that maybe a bit too late that some of the random items that you find are important, and you shouldn't just throw them away.
Well, because items don't despawn, right? If I recall correctly, Arcanum items don't despawn.
I believe they can. If it's in a public trash can, and some other places they do. But they don't despawn if they're at least in chests. Because I have a similar thing, the Mr. Plow or whatever in Tarant, that little warehouse. I think it's a pretty popular one people use, and I've been using it, where you use the chest there as your dumping ground.
Well, there's a chest in the Wheel Clan Mountains I've been using, because he has a lot of good crafting gear. The blacksmith there, or one of the crafting guys in the Wheel Clan Mountains has some really good crafting stuff. So I've been using his chest as storage, and also I have like 4 or 5 companions.
Is it his sales chest, like his inventory that he sells?
It's in the main room he's in, if I recall correctly.
Okay. Or if it's just on the top right. But if it's his personal chest, I think it actually will despawn your stuff if it's like a vendor supply chest.
Well, that's a good cliffhanger. Will Gabe lose all his crafting gear in it next time?
Yeah, you go back and visit. It's just a bunch of just shitty armor in there. It's been turned into.
Yeah, another common zoomer filtered by good RPG design.
I definitely feel that. And because there's just a lot of quest items, and some of them are gated until you get to Caledon or some of these later locations, and so you just have to find somewhere to dump it.
Which feels punishing, but at the same time, it is refreshing in some ways that they're not holding your hand. That like you can seriously screw things up. It makes you feel like you have a bit more agency. It's just a little bit undercooked, I think.
In that item discovery or item description mod I shilled in the first 2 episodes or so, and I'm still using, there's actually a nice in between where it has a category little tag like in brackets at the end of every item description, and so it'll say quest on things. So that actually does give me a little bit of that modern gamer hack, where I see a gem and it says quest item on it, I just know not to throw it away because it'll come up later. But the default game does not give you that. All right. Anything else on Qintarra? You guys want to do Silver Lady?
Well, I guess Qintarra for such a unique area and such a unique place, it's surprisingly like you're right. It's mostly empty, other than Loggers and other than the weird scaly side faction event. It is kind of a vacuous area. So after such a charming, unique place as Stillwater, it kind of is very a deflationary kind of thing. Like you expect a lot more character and personality from like the nation state of the elves, you know?
There is a little fun, like, I don't know, side area, like just random location where there's a half ogre who has like this like band of like trained monkeys that attack you on sight.
Whoa, I didn't see this.
You've never, yeah. It's directly to the south. It's called like it's like a pond. And there's a half ogre that has a bunch of trained monkeys that just immediately attack you. It felt strange. I thought maybe it was related to some quest, but I think it's just some random event.
That's
or
awesome.
some random location.
Well, actually, maybe there's a lot of random encounters in Arcanum, and me and Dave just has never actually activated these random encounters.
Yeah, just shitty RNG.
No, it's an actual location. It's not a random encounter. It's just a random spot.
Some of the one-off locations are really fun. Yeah,
doing the grid method
thing. Okay, so we go back. I mean, the forest itself is huge, and then you just don't get flagged that many places to go because, like I said, there's maybe 4 or 5 people that even talk to you or have anything going on in the city. But you return back, and you will be coming back here. Not that I think it's just a check the box kind of thing, but to talk to the Silver Lady, who we're told is this, she's some kind of between dimension. She's so magical. She's so enlightened, but also maybe passing into the next world or something. So you go in, you talk to her, and it's cool. She vague posts a lot at you, but it's a lot of vague posting. Oh my God. And then I actually have a huge beef with the structure of, so you go in, she vague posts at you. Please feel free to backfill me your guys' thoughts on this, but then you come out, you talk to Raven, and you have to play fucking cookie clicker on every little like sub line she talked to you that you remember only half of these even happened of all these dialogue options. And then she like reiterates like, oh, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Maybe that means this. I don't know what that means, until finally you get a clue that you have to, it might have something to do with the dark elves. It might do with where they are or something. But to find the dark elves, no one knows where the dark elf city is, of course, in this world. I was okay. So I've made my way to Los Angeles after being in New York. Where the fuck is Houston, Texas? Okay, you have to go find the book by this guy named Dr. Terwillinger, last known to be in Tarant. Okay, so we have our next phase there. But okay, but that's the tee up. Please dump on me, guys.
Well, one. Austin is clearly a dark elf city central. Houston would not be a dark elf place. That's where the middle class halflings go. Is Houston's halfling city, while Austin is a
the dark elves are hipsters.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And they're all
100%
soy beard like hipsters.
You know the dark elves absolutely reek of weed.
The University of Austin is whatever the name of the dark elf city.
Jordan Peterson's
Well, yes, it's the realms of meeting, Bucko. Wash your penis and pray to the false god.
I mean, were you guys annoyed by all the vague dialogue? Or
well, the Silver Lady's
charm?
pretty cool. The writing itself, the boy with the machine dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of our plot stuff. For the narrative purposes, I really liked her as a character, as an idea. But then again, you have to literally playing a guessing game afterwards. That felt a little too gimmicky to certain. I do agree, it's very gimmicky.
Yeah, just so much. It's so much clicking. I just remember I forgot which ones I had clicked, and because this game is so old, it doesn't remove things you've already asked, or it doesn't make them a darker shade of gray or something to save you from fucking up. And I definitely re-listened to 4 of them like twice. And I was like, wait, what? I think because I couldn't remember what I had to do to activate the next stage. Which again, part of the muddled middle is okay, now we have to find a fucking book to find a town. We just did this and we're doing this again, but now it's even more obscure. And it's not even super clear that he's in Tarant. And it's just what, who the fuck do I even talk to in Tarant? They don't even tell you. You have to go to, oh my God. This is very, to me, the quest, linkage is very muddled here too. And again, I'm sounding annoyed, angry.
This is still a game we recommend.
But I still love it. I still love this game, yeah. But just this part is it's just so vague, even in my memory. I had to look up the name of Mr. Twillinger, and he's a major character in a way. But it's just all these little niggling connections.
Yeah, when you think about the quest line, I agree with Tim King's criticism. At the basic 3-act structure of Fallout 1 was too simple, but maybe having 24 plot gates in Arcanum,
just a little
I think
too much.
It's actually he actually counted. He actually referenced the exact amount of plot gates there are. You got.
I think it was 24. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought. What was it? You get the blimp. You go to Toronto. You had to talk to Gilbert Bates. You had to go to Isle of Despair. You had to go get glasses from the Isle of Despair so you could go see the mountains of the Wheel Clan. Because if you don't have the glasses, then you can't go to the Wheel Clan. So you have to craft the glasses. Go there. Go to Stillwater. I'm probably missing 12 of them, right? Because right at this point, it's just to get to Tree City, you have to go through 8 phases. From the top of my head, it's 8 plot gates right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, the next part actually is really dense with them too. We're gonna zip around between Caledon and Tarant.
Well, actually, no. Real quick,
and the elf area again, 3 times.
Wait, I want to ask actually Samsara. Actually, what's your thoughts of the Silver Lady? Are we just aged boomers at this point, Tim? You as a first time, you also thought the guessing game was. You also didn't like the guessing game afterwards after talking to Silver Lady.
Yeah, I was just spamming it at a certain point.
Eventually, we'll just.
I usually don't do that. I like to take the time to actually read all the dialogue, but yeah, it was rough.
Well, in that case, why? So I like the idea of you actually have to investigate all these threads and all these lore aspects and all these I like the idea of having to use your brain to find the next step of a clue. But there has to be some other way than literally playing chicken with a dialogue system. I don't know how to explain it. But it literally is a game of 21.
If they had Fallout. Remember? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. We're going to say Fallout system.
No. You know what Fallout's you have to type it into chat at the bottom. What if they fucking did that after they cut the dream sequence? You had to remember and ask.
You had to type it in manually. Oh my God. That would have been. Hey, it will have filtered the plebs at least. At least it would stop people from bitching about the excellent level that was the Black.
Ultimate filter.
I think if you're going to do something like that, there need to be consequences for doing something incorrectly. Just to keep pushing people along, there needs to be some sort of case sensitive. Those decisions need to the first time you go through it, that conversation needs to have weight in order for that to feel like a good mechanic, I think.
Oh, that's a great point. Like she would ask you, "Oh, like what did you think was the most important thing?" And like if you what you choose there decides what category of clue you would get, or what even yeah, some way to really give some weight to quiz you. Maybe in a way that's not like you completely get fucked if you don't get it right.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's towards the end, if it's towards the end of the game, it would just change the next hour of game time.
Yeah,
yeah, it makes you force you to pay attention to the dialogue. Like if she gives like a really short wild goose chase.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
I get where they're
really fun.
I get where they're going with it. It's just I think it's just poor execution. Which I think in games like this, you see like these little grains of things that could have been very good. And they really experimented and actually took a chance in ways that people don't today, because the budgets of modern studios are so high that they're completely risk avoidant. That's I think the main appeal of these games is that they're the jank the jank is so bad, but you can tell they're trying to achieve something that modern RPGs just wouldn't like dare.
Yeah, you're right, because there's nothing Arcanum-esque. Like there's no such thing as Arcanum core. There's something as Fallout core, but Arcanum is actually distinctly different. There's a lot of shared DNA from Fallout, but there's something very distinctly different, both in its mechanics and in its overall, I guess you could say, world. That makes it very unique and not very replicable. Like there's steampunk stuff, but actually I don't think there's like that many steampunk RPGs. Actually, I can't even think of any major steampunk RPGs.
Dishonored.
Well, yeah, that's a
it's a semi RPG, but yeah,
that's an immersive sim, and like actually a CRPG set in the Dishonored world would be pretty cool. Actually, I think it actually could kind of work, but Arcanum is very hard.
Revolution, Chud.
Oh, fuck off! Right, but again, other than I guarantee you,
Fable 3.
Yeah, I guess Fate. But yeah, but that's more again just pure fantasy. What made the aspects of Arcanum so interesting is the aspect of industrial revolution happening in a Tolkien fantasy world. Fable actually has that.
Yeah, in Fable 3, yeah, it's the start of the industrial revolution in Fable 3.
My only experience with Fable 3 is when my mom would take me to Walmart. You remember back in the day, Walmart used to have these scanners, these scanners at the front door so people don't steal things. And the scanners used to have covers, and on the covers of the little scanner was a cover for Fable 3. I remember that as a young child when Fable 3 was coming out. So that was my entire experience with Fable 3, actually.
And you could play demos and stuff. The world you grew up in no longer exists.
God, that's what the world took from me to appropriately actually engage with Fable 3 other than the Walmart ad.
Oh, there is one other thing on Raven. Oh, sorry, Gabe. Do you have something else on?
Oh yeah, no. But my overall point is that because there's 101 different like even with these CRPG ones. There's 3 CRPG love letters to Fallout 1. Well. Yeah, again, with Arcanum, you'd be surprised because the idea of using technology and magic, other than Fable 3, of course, I have not played, but based on osmosis, I no longer need to play because Samsara already told me about it. But yeah, you'd think there's so much more wiggle room, especially with how popular crafting games are. Like imagine you all know The Forest, that survival RPG or that survival game. That's very popular, where you're dropped in a forest, you have to build forts and stuff. Imagine The Forest set in like the Arcanum universe, like a survival sim slop, but in the Arcanum world. I think it'd be interesting.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
But the only thing I want to mention with the Raven was just as you guys are, incels that don't want to call it. She's canonically had sex with Terwilliger. If you pick her pocket or actually you can't pick her pocket, funny enough. Like I tried to pick her pocket, or at least like after the Silver Lady thing, and I got like a weird thing. Like, this creature cannot be pickpocketed, which I've never seen anywhere else in the game. So weird little tidbit there. But if you kill her, because I just killed her for fun in a save for this reason, to see what would happen, she has a letter from Terwilliger, or that's what links you to the Tarant. And it says, "Oh, I love you. I want to kiss you again," or that kind of shit to him. So, and she's also your only romance option in this game. Don't know if you guys, which I don't know. There's like a bunch of weird gates to be able to romance. I don't know if you guys ever attempted that.
No, I the only romance I experienced was prostitution. Which, I wish there were. I wish some of the clients like there was a romance option, but yeah, there was nothing there. Which I think there was. I forget which game started it. Was it Pillars? I think, or was it fuck? I forget the first RPG to have romance, but that's like a staple now of RPGs, which I feel is overdone at this point. But yeah, it was definitely something I noticed.
Yeah. BioWare really like was into that too with the 3D. I think there was a little bit in the Baldur's Gates games, but yeah, I know old Timmy Boy was like very against romance or like being too dependent on it. But they threw it in here. I never did it. Like you have to be either human, half elf, or elf for it even to click, and then you have to have her in your party, which I never did. Yeah. So anyway, it's just an interesting thing about the way romance has progressed in RPG games. With this as like a really, it's just kind of this weird vestigial, vestigial thing that they just threw in. Maybe Microsoft demanded it. I wouldn't be surprised. But if you guys are good, I mean, we can ditch the elves. I've heard of the high elves. I'm over the elves. And we'll wrap up with the Tarant.
I caught that fucking Oblivion reference. Goddamn.
Yeah, always. The boil, and just I guess any other Tarant nuggets. Either we got, we'll back to Tarant like twice more in the last. We have 2 more episodes than the series is done. At least this episode of or this game of it. So you have to return to the boil to find the death certificate, not death certificate, like the newspaper obituary of Terwillinger. So you have to go to the records office. At least that's what I did. And then she gives you a thing. She says, "Oh yeah, he's dead. The last copy of the book is in Caledon." So we have our big quest there. So basically, you could be there for 1 minute, but walkthroughitis exhibit 23. There's a bunch of new shit cooking in Tarant. Actually, did you guys do the Mr. Willoughsby or the Orc Factory stuff?
That Orc Factory. This is one of the probably the second most famous. I actually don't know if people know much about the Orc Marxism. But this is if you look at the poster, which is based on the Nazi poster of the half orc guy flying the flag. This is where that quest is from. Actually, you literally get to meet a orcish Hapa who's trying to fight for his people against the Jews. Or sorry, the gnomes, and fight for the rights of his people. Again, rise up. It's national Bolshevism. He's fighting against the Jews and white people at the same time. He's actually kind of like the ogre version of Malcolm X. Actually, he's Ogre X in many ways. Yeah, I love that quest. The Marxist, the factory worker ogre quest.
Yeah, you show up and there's
quest. It's a fantastic quest line.
6 or 8 guards.
It's probably the top 3 quest lines in the entire game.
There's a libtard, and even a libtard gnome who's like, "Oh, they can be enlightened. They can be whatever." I'm sure there's a bunch of persuade stuff you could do here. I bet that would be cool. I've never done that, but my little thief guy went in, and I did 2 runs of this. The first run I sided with, because my guy, I'm anti-Gates or whatever his name is, Bates. I'm anti-Bates. I'm anti-society because I'm a freak, and so I sided with the orcs. And so if you do that and you go in, you say you're gonna like talk him down, and you just say, "Oh, I'm here to join you," and then you charge out with them and you massacre the guards. The guards actually have way OP guns. So I gave the gun to my little guy with a gun, and he just shoots it's like speed 50, just like literally a machine gun. And we just massacred. And then it's cool because it flips, and you get this tag of like a reputation tag of Orc Uprising guy. And literally it's attack on sight for every single person in Tarant and Caledon. After that, and Tarant starts spawning orcs in like the whole downtown district, like the whole eastern side, that just kill pedestrians.
Yeah, we're having a little Haiti moment. Basically, it's a full blown Haitian revolution set in Toronto world.
I would honestly have done it if it wasn't that Caledon also was affected, because I wanted to do the quests and stuff over there when we get there.
Well, this is where my multi-save method works for me, because I did do it, but I saved up before leaving Tarant, and then I restarted the quest line because I also want to get pure Caledon footage. So if I manage to actually properly organize things, I can have my Kick and Eat It 2 and have playthrough A be, full red brown alliance. My Uncle Ted pilled tech build, Uncle Ted rising up with the orcs to go against capitalism and industrialization.
That actually is a very
industrial society.
Yeah,
it is very build a bomb, very anti-social. Like, yeah, man, I'll use the orcs to fuck over technology, right? Because it will slow down technological advancement if the only high IQ orc is just using this way to like slow down technological advancement. Because the orcs are controlling the factories will inevitably slow down capitalism to some degree. So from my character's ideological standpoint, it actually makes sense for Build-A-Bomb to go full anti-white.
Yeah.
To slaughter every economically viable human being in Toronto.
He's the third worldist. He's gone.
Oh my god! He's Jackson Hinkle. I'm playing Jackson Hinkle
Alexander
in this
Duggan,
universe. Yeah, I'm a Duganist. Oh my god! I gotta delete my save now. Oh my god, I feel so dirty now. This entire time I've been playing as a third world Duganist.
Before we do the boil, though, then the other option is just kill him. That's what I did. I just killed him in the save. I have a pre-save. I may go back and try and play through more to experience that end, but it just seems like a lot of extra hassle. But it's a very fun event that just pops up. I love that kind of thing. We heard about more dynamic and reactive. It's just really cool to see this sort of concept progress, because you already could have met the orcs and seen, oh, they're complaining about their situation, but they're like scared. And then you come back 20 levels later and it's escalated to a riot. But the other one, this is the second Gabe quiz time. Gabe, did you meet Mr. Willoughsby?
Willoughsby, oh yeah, isn't Willoughsby like Gilbert Bates' rival?
No, that's Applebaum or Appleby.
Oh, I'm confusing of Applebaum. Willoughsby sounds familiar. Mm-hmm. I haven't played in a month or two. Remind me, no. Okay, remind me what Willoughsby does.
I'm not trying to bash you, but I'm betting you didn't meet Willoughsby. But let me know if you did.
I didn't.
Because this is my walkthrough itis exhibit. This not your fault.
Oh my god, Zoomer's getting punked again.
So Mr. Willoughsby, you recognize the name because he's mentioned a bunch. He is the council leader for like the Gnomish Industrial Council. He's like kind of the president or the prime minister of Tarant. So he's mentioned, and you actually go into his house. Gabe, you mentioned the fire axe that you get. That's his house you go into. It's like in his basement. It's by the cemetery. Like the big house has the half ogre who's like, oh, hello, my master's out right now. That's his house. There is only, I don't know if this is the only time. This might be the only time you can fucking find this guy. And there's nothing that points you that way. I only know it because I saw in posts or whatever, and lore like talk or guides and shit that talks about him a bunch, because he connects to some major shit, but he's not there at the beginning. I don't know if you miss this triggered event, I don't know if you can stumble across him, but basically you just have to walk randomly by his house, which is near the cemetery in Tarant, and then you see him and some guy, Perryman Smith, he's a possible companion, stepping out of his house saying, ho, 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 good show, good time, my friend. And you can talk to them. Yeah, so you talk to Perryman Smith. He has this whole thing about how he's from Tulla. He's a mage. He has this whole it's just this whole really built out character, and you can have one as a companion. And then Willoughsby linked to like some big fucking plot shit. So I don't know if you can go back and meet him at this point. Hopefully you can, because if you talk to him, he'll say, oh, come meet me in my office later. And it's exactly where it's at the fucking record place, the record building that you have to go through for the quest.
Yeah, where you get to pay.
Yeah, but this is like, again, the muddled fucking middle. It's like it's like missing shit telling you to come here or just having him there, because you go to his office and then he'll tell you about, okay, I have a secret. If you have the right charisma or something, he'll tell you about his scheme in the boil. And so he'll send you to the boil on a quest for him. So it kind of like gives you extra incentive to do that, which that's why I wanted to bring it up before we got there. But then the other nugget is he gives you a offer to become a negotiator in the Kaladin peace negotiations. So you can say yes or no, or he might, in my case, he said I was too ugly to do it. You can't do this. But getting that alone, as you leave the building, you get another quest. You get a guy who comes up and says, hey, do you want to be the Archduke Ferdinand assassin of this setting? Do you want to murder the Prince of Caledon? I have a contact waiting for you there. So you have all this shit firing off. It's really cool. But you only get it if you randomly show up to an arbitrary corner of this city halfway through the game when you've already probably done all that. You've already explored this shit.
Yeah,
it's wild.
Yeah, like I've already killed everyone in the boil, and I've killed the king already. So like,
you took the Bukele route of killing the boil.
I'm cooked. Yeah, I looked around. The boil, trying to find like a means of getting in so I could sort of explore and talk to people and see if there were quest lines I could pick up, and there was just no like response at all. They just attacked you immediately, but because I was so over leveled, I killed all of them. And then I went to the opposite side of the boil where the other like rival gang faction is. Same thing happened. I killed all of them too.
I went like no conversation. You just walked in, massacred.
Well, there's no option. They just attack you on sight. Like there's no means of like getting in there. So I just treated it like a dungeon and just killed everybody.
Yeah, isn't one of the gang leaders literally named Mog?
Yeah.
Like Nick Mog or something
Maug
like that?
or something, yeah.
Yes, Clan Mog in the north is a half-orc gang, and then Pollock gang is the half-ogre gang on the south side. And there is a Star Wars reference, by the way. Before you walk in, they say, it's important to see a greater hive of scum and villainy. So
yeah.
They recycled that from Fallout 1.
Yeah. Fallout 2,
They say that about the dead in Fallout 1. No, Fallout 1 and 2. They used it both times in Fallout 1 and Fallout 2.
Lucas brained. Mm-hmm. Slop King.
It was before absolutely mind raped by George Lucas. Well, actually, you're supposed to. The boy must have a lot of good like content for your character as an unlivable incel thief freak.
A little bit. Well, Gabe, tell us what you did first, because I think I've been talking a bunch. Like, what did you do with the boil? Because surely you did it.
Boil? I'm trying to remember if I did do the boil. I can't remember. Well, listen, you realize you don't reload your saves. With the orc thing, I did the entire orc quest with Tarant and helping my third world brothers, and then I reloaded the save to do it properly.
I did it too. I did that too.
You helped burn down the city too?
Yeah, I did.
But I have record. Oh,
you have recording of it? Okay, I have no evidence, so I could lie.
Yeah, as a halfling, is it unlovable incel freak who's barely 5'2". Actually, how tall are halflings? Right, there must be a little bit taller than those.
I think they're low 4. I want to say.
Yeah,
maybe high 3,
4'5",
3'11" or something like that. Mine, it was pretty good. I complimented earlier, or I mentioned earlier, I feel like the dialogue rate is a shame, Sim, that actually you just massacred everyone. The dialogue rating actually I thought was pretty good when you go into the bar and you get this rogues gallery of representatives of each faction, and
I got that, but there were no like quest lines that opened up as a result. They attacked me when I went into the boil because I didn't like back down when they tried to intimidate me. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing. You do have to eat some shit because everyone will be like, "Oh, hey, fuck you! I'm the big boss. You have to bow to me, and you have to bow, or else you just have to kill them." So it's like, is it this weird? Is this weird, like split in like the game awareness where like you're going to be more powerful than them, but you have to act like a little shit, so you can enjoy the content of the game.
Yeah.
Well, at least you don't have to kiss their feet like that one bar encounter. Remember that? Remember, I posted a screenshot of that. Like you literally have to kiss that dude's feet at that bar.
Yeah.
He's not even a Malakian hand.
Someone
He's just
had a
some drunk dude
fetish
who's mad
that
at
was
you. I
making this
think.
game.
Yeah, little they know the halfling gets off.
Yeah, there's an assortment of fetishes in this game.
The boils is pretty fun, but it's kind of comes into the combat dungeon stuff we've been talking a bit. So like the bar is fun, has a good dialogue. You get assigned to kill somebody. The boilerplate way to play it is you join either one gang or the other, and then you kill the other gang. But then if you do what I did, you meet a contact in the bar there named Sebastian, who I think is only there if you talk to Willoughsby first. And I didn't meet him, so that's for sure. Okay, you genuinely, you don't fucking need this guy. He doesn't really do anything that helpful. He repeats the lay of the land. Actually, he shits on you if you show up. He's like, oh, so you already know what's going on, right? And because I want to get dialogue, I was like, oh no, tell me what's going on. Because I was like, oh, tell me your perspective. And he shits on you, and you lose influence. Because he's like, oh, you didn't even investigate first? Not much of an agent problem solver, are you?
See, yet again, what you do to me every time I don't play a certain aspect of those games. See, again, you're playing yourself literally. This is your karma. This is your samsara event, dealing with your past lives and your past sins.
And just like me, he's pretty useless and not helpful in solving the actual problem. He just tells you, yeah, we're worried about Clan Mog, the half-orc leader specifically, because he think good. So can you just kill that guy? That'd be great. And that's really all he does. So it's just like, okay, dude, thanks. I could have just done that without you, but okay. So I killed him. Actually, specifically, because I'm an ugly little freak, I stealthed to kill him by going through the sewers. Yeah, which we had mentioned earlier. Just a fucking combat hallway, dude. The sewers it was just a slog. So it was actually more combat to be quote unquote stealthy. And then you come out of a little tube right across from the leader so you can kill him. So you skip killing like 5 orcs, and instead I killed 500 snakes. Yeah, it's fucking shit.
Oh my gosh, it's the Wheel Clan all over again. Chad build a bomb, Autis build a bomb, just walks in bar, burns it down with Molotov cocktails.
They're also
versus
stronger.
The incel halfling
Having
having to crawl through sewers.
Like they're much tougher enemies.
Yeah.
I went the opposite way. I just went straight through, killed all the ogres, and then I was like, oh look, a tunnel.
Yeah.
And then far more XP in the sewers.
Did you do so? But you did the XP, so you did like slog through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a lot.
It is, yeah.
You're just an XP hound. You love grinding, don't you?
Really
well, I wanted to see every like section of the map. I like exploring, and that means you have to kill a lot of it. I was trying to find content the whole time, and I ended up just having to kill a bunch of shit.
The music is really good down there. It has unique. They actually have unique music for the sewers.
See, that's its own reward at least. You got to experience a unique OST.
I think that was pretty much. Oh, let me just. I was checking my notes on the boil. I mean, there's really not a ton to it. Oh, my note on this was, so the boil was the boil an issue of the game going too wide, which we've actually already kind of touched on, but it made me think about, man, what if they put some of that time and energy. I don't want to make the whole show always just about like, oh, they should have done this, they should have done that. But some of that time and energy that went to like Qintarra, to our earlier conversation about how like the human world is so much more fleshed out. The boil seems like they could have doubled the size of it and integrated more with the city. And like, there's some really great bones there. That I think that would have been a really great place to have added their focus, which fortunately in the spiritual sequel of Clockwork Revolution is just happening in one city. They're taking our advice, guys. So there's nothing to complain about.
Yeah, I would just be repeating a lot of my critiques. Like they could have made the factions like maybe intertwined with local politics or something like that, just to make things feel more like interconnected. But I would be repeating myself.
Yeah, and they cut out. Yeah, no, to repeat myself, but in a unique Gabian way. This actually reminds me, we were discussing earlier about the problem with the politics, is that it's actually a trifecta, because Caledon is also technological. So you got 3 major locations that deal with the technology and the politics and the politique of the Industrial Revolution in Arcanum. But you have a bunch of little isolated islands and villages that do not connect one way or the other. with the politics of the game and the consequences of the Industrial Revolution. Like a good way is that, let's say, a good way to develop this is to have side quests. So like you talk to like a railroad baron, like a historical railroad baron, and each village you go to, like say Ashbury, like you in charge to either help build the railroad there. Like you had to build a fast travel system instead of a fast travel system from the jump. You have to actually build out the fast travel system if you want to actually take a train to an X location. Let's say, for example, Stillwater. Like if you want fast travel there, via train, you have to actually go there and do a side quest to either help the train yard, but then you have an instantly penalty to your magic. Like so, the faster you help the trains across the universe, the more harm it does to any magic character, right? And vice versa. So you could sabotage the trains and actually, like for example, like destroy railroads or something like that. That'd be an actually interesting world building, but also mechanical way to deal with both the politics and also the fast travel aspect of the game itself.
A lot of the fun in playing these like older games is, there sort of like gems that weren't polished. Like there are certain mechanics that were kind of tossed aside in the following decades. It's fun as like an exercise to just go through them and then think about like
an example is because it's like a divergent evolution. All the mainstream RPG industry just completely did not try to continue. Like Arcanum at least tried. They took steps and expected to pass the torch, but then the next person to accept that torch pissed on it, relit it with like motor oil and like seed oils, and then sold it to the next chump down the line rather than actually continuing to build upon that torch.
I think Disco Elysium did a pretty good job. That world feels incredibly fleshed out, and there's a lot of like every path seems well developed. That would be like the one exception. I think that's why the game is held in such high regard.
Yeah, I mean the biggest two, of course, is I would say that, and like maybe Baldur's Gate 3 in terms of showing that like classic RPGs can still make a buck as long as you have more voice acting and like Gooner material. But yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 and Disco Elysium. But in terms of a narrative point, I actually say a fan game that I hope to cover on this because it's a great example of. No, I'm being serious. It's a Russian fan game. It's called Fallout Sonora. It takes place in like Arizona. It's an in-betweequel. It's in betwiddle between Fallout 1 and Fallout 2. And it takes place in, like I said, Arizona, in Phoenix, Arizona. And there's two factions. I'm not going to spoil it, but one is a technological faction just trying to jumpstart the economy, teach these tribals how to read if it kills them, and like tries to bring technology back to the universe and medical technology as well. But you also got the Arizona Rangers or the Desert Rangers, and they respect the tribal customs and don't want to impose any culture, just merely protect and also tax them. But yet again, no technological development. So you got the more tribal respect Arizona Rangers versus the harsh totalitarian technological people who want to spread technology. And every single faction in the Fallout Sonora deals with that concept. They either are created by the technological people, they rely on the tech or the agriculture of the technology people in some way, shape, or form, or they're tribals who are fighting against them and are teamed up with the Arizona Rangers. Every single faction in that game, every single location, and there's only like 7 or 8 of them. But it's still high in depth. The reason why it's very few locations is because of the reactivity aspect of it. Each location, locale you go to in Fallout Sonora deals with the politics of, do we advance with technology but have the drawback of losing our cultural and political autonomy, or do we retain our political and cultural autonomy but stay stagnant in terms of economics and overall civilization? And so that actually, what we're complaining about in our Arcanum, that torch was actually that someone actually picked up that torch and continued onward with experimenting with the reactivity of the idea and concept. Well, it was a handful of Russians in bumfuck in Vladivostok somewhere who actually continued with that experimentation rather than the AAA developers with billions in their pockets who had all the time and resources to actually develop that idea and concept.
Yeah, it was a very Cainian philosophy because he always talks about his design pillars, right? Everything has to tie back to a design pillar. In this case, it's like the narrative design pillars, like things tying back to it. And I think the muddled middle stuff, as we kind of were getting at earlier, ties in here as a idea of just like what's the narrative design pillar this location and this quest ties back to. And I think it becomes much less clear, or not as well executed. Like I think on a whiteboard, Qintarra is providing another civilizational view of it, and it just kind of falls flat.
Yeah,
it
doesn't land.
Yeah, it just doesn't land because it just spreads so thin. But it also makes me wonder, like, is it also just do games just need to limit themselves to one city? Like we've kind of circled this loosely once or twice in the last episode or two. But like Disco Elysium is another example, right? It's all in one city.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, a lot of these like more narrative heavy games are more focused. I have actually not played Baldur's Gate 3. I assume that's more spread out. I know there's like a lot of dungeons and travel and that. So yeah, go ahead.
I think you need to limit yourself to a city, but you need to make sure that the density doesn't suffer for the scale. Yeah. That if you're going to expand the world, like you need to make sure that it's actually populated with things that keep people engaged. I don't think you necessarily, like, as a rule, need to limit it to one small specific area, but
well, I think what David's saying is like it has to have an anchor, like something that like a hub that keeps on. The game has to have a central star that every other system and all the narrative orients around itself to have a clear sense of what the center of the universe is.
Maybe.
I'm just trying to justify it in my own mind because I instinctually maybe like prefer this Arcanum style of having more, disparate locations, whatever. But then I just keep coming back to these complaints that are essentially saying we should focus more on one city. And so I'm like, but there's a part of me that doesn't like that. And I see where that leads to Clockwork Revolution and things like that, where it's just, I don't know. I guess I have these competing, like this idea of optimizing the game that we're bouncing around, which is like more concentrated. But then I'm like, is there something aesthetically displeasing to me about being so focused on efficiency and product? And I do like that messiness, even though I keep complaining about how messy and the muddledness of it. So it's this internal conflict I'm just spilling out onto you guys.
I don't know. Well, in that case, would I pose the same question I did with Stillwater? Do you think the boil should have been cut? I'll pose this first to Samsara.
No. I think the boil's necessary for the city to make sense. Like you need a kind of underbelly in any major city, especially if it's rapidly industrializing. Like you're going to end up with a large criminal element in a densely populated city.
Yeah, that for Tarant to work, actually, the whole conceit being, the Industrial Revolution, you're going to have that. I kind of agree at that point.
Yeah, you need those elements. They needed to be integrated a bit better. Like even location wise, it's like separated from the rest of the city by like a giant bridge. It's like so out of the way. It just doesn't feel like palatable. Like it if it were maybe off to the side near the docks or something, I think that would have improved it quite a bit. There just needed to be scripted like encounters that sort of pulled you in, I think, and sort of started you on whatever quest lines exist there, just to get like your sort of toe in the water. At least in my experience, because I fucking killed everybody. Like there needs to be some way. Yeah, you need a little bit of handholding, I think. At least to start off, and then you can kind of let people loose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of clumsily stitched on.
No.
To spill into it, I think it's a good point. Like if you could just walk in by accident more naturally, or if there was like a less intense outer layer to it, right? And then if you go 2 streets in, then you just get your ass jumped if you're under level, whatever. But at least you have that fuzzy border, and it's not just this. There's a bridge, and then there's like the extra part of town. I think it's necessary too. It's not one I would cut because also it's not huge, and I don't think probably wasn't as labor intensive as some of these others. I think to me it adds, because it's focusing on where the game is strongest, which is the Tarant, Shrouded Hills, Durnholm triangle. Like that to me, that's like the heart of the game, and that's like we were talking about earlier narratively. It's like where it's got feet so strongly under it. So I wish they leaned into that. and then cut all the dwarf shit or a lot of the dwarf shit.
Yeah. I think the dwarf stuff was necessary. It seemed like they focused on that a little too much. I think the reason is because they wanted to emphasize the main quest line, but the main quest line just dragged out a little too long, and I think it detracted from the rest of the game. The care they could put into the rest of the game.
And wait, Gabe, did you have your vote on the boil?
Oh yeah, no, I had a lot of fun with the boil. I mean, the boil is conceptually a fun area, of course, with Tarant and Industrial Revolution and stuff like that. And we were discussing this idea of having an organic way for the player. We were asking for a Todd marker. We need a Daddy Todd aspect to it, where it spoon feeds the player to actually go to the boil. And actually, Dave, what are your thoughts on my idea on having a criminal from like the Isle of Despair when you go to the prison island? Like have either a guy there who has connection to the boil, maybe he wants to send a letter or like a note to his contact in the boil for like smuggling reasons. I think that would have been like a natural spoon feeding way for a player to have a reason to go to the boil.
Oh yeah, that'd be really good. Or like the police or something. There's a lot of really natural ways you could tie it in, and it's classic Industrial Revolution kind of stories too, right? Of like the underclasses and gang warfare, gangs in New York, basically. You could really, that kind of energy is classic.
But speaking of, because we're critiquing the setting, I think actually because we think the main plot is like Tolkien in the Industrial Revolution, and that's the hook, but that's not the main plot. The main plot is actually about death and inherent suffering. You know what I'm talking about, Dave. Mm-hmm. And you at least have an inkling of what I'm talking about, Samsara. That's actually the main plot. So there's actually you have two major plot threads, which is the Industrial Revolution dealing with a Tolkien universe, and they're smashing together with a prophecy plot. Yes, technically you're not the Chosen One. It's actually a subversion of the Chosen One plot. I know that, Mr. Cain, but you're still dealing with a prophecy. You're still dealing with a Chosen One high fantasy concept. And it's a good story. I'm not even saying it actually is very heartfelt kind of, the final villain is just as good as the Master from Fallout 1. But the problem is you sell it on the hook of dealing with the politics of an Industrial Revolution in a fantasy world. But the finale actually doesn't have much to do with that innate concept. And the overall plot, the real plot, doesn't actually have anything to do with that concept.
I actually like that though, because then the whole adventure isn't about the setting's hook, right? The setting is just is spinning off into the universe, right? It's doing its own thing, and then you're on a mission. You're on your own little mission within it. So I agree. That's probably like you were talking earlier, Sam, about what gambles modern studios might not take. To me, that's a little bit more of a gamble. It's a little more complexity. But I think it works out really well in this game.
Yeah, the world kind of speaks for itself. It's you don't need the magical and technological element to be like a quest line. It's just a background feature.
Yeah,
it's a natural state of the world, so it's naturally understated, which has its pros and cons.
Yeah, you're not hit over the head with everything. Are you going to pick technology team? Or are you going to pick, magic team? Are you going to get a robot hand? Are you going to get a magic hand? And that's the end of the game, is like you have to, dunk the magic. You have to do a Mass Effect ending, right? You have to either embrace technology or embrace magic forever in the universe. Because that also kind of makes the world harder to sequel, and it's more like determined, right? Whereas this is more just a character story within a world, which I find really fun. But
I think you're pretty much predicting the plot of Clockwork Revolution.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, you notice this because like in New Vegas is also because you with good RPGs where we have a lot of love online, like the people who are obsessed with like natural cult followings. You notice they're polythematic, while most mainstream RPGs are monothematic.
Yeah.
Right, because it repeats the same thing in all the quest lines. Well, versus let's say New Vegas or Arcanum. The Arcanum, the setting is you can have anything set in the Arcanum universe, and it would mostly fit. And again, I will actually contradict my own criticisms, because the idea of the whole Kurgan event being like this whole technology thing, it's important for like the medium term people, but once you learn the lore and the cyclical nature of the universe, you realize your entire historical epoch, what you think is, you think you're a special little snowflake in the Industrial Revolution. When you find out later, it's like, no, this is the natural cycles of mankind. You're just a little blip in the overall samsara-esque cycle spinning of the wheel of the universal civilization.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's like being on your third Bitcoin crash, and you're like, my first time, kid. Like I'm not even flinching at this point.
It's over. Listen, your diamond hands are bleeding from how sharp your hands are from holding that bag.
Still holding Safe Moon.
Yes.
It's gonna bounce back, you bastard.
You'll see. Once Kenya makes it its official currency, y'all will be eating shit right now.
Yeah, I've read the white paper. If you guys are good there, I do want to. We're going to get a lot more into that in the next 2 episodes in terms of the overarching plot as it really kind of unfolds itself, because it's a weird plot in the way it unfolds itself later on. But I don't want to get too sidetracked. I want to respect Sim's time and also just give you a chance. Sim, is your last chance on air ever on this podcast. Well, actually, honestly, you can come back anytime. But like, this is. What do you have any final words? I feel like we've talked a bunch, but I guess any other like thoughts on the game up to this point and your experience with it?
I feel like I'd be repeating myself. Yeah, not really. I think I've.
Yeah. Do you just wish there's more gorillas to fight? That's your
yeah, exactly.
There's one more.
Well, actually, as our first grooming victim of the Cain Corner, I would actually like to say, would you organically, by yourself, without peer pressure, would you ever actually touch Arcanum again of your own like wanting or desires?
Yeah, I think I would. Mainly as like an educational experience. It's a lot like watching older movies. I feel like where it's kind of like an acquired taste, but I feel like when you come back to it, you kind of it's like getting a history lesson almost.
Could you see any on your own endeavors? Could you actually see Arcanum influencing any of your work, or no?
At least for UI, like what not to do. Personally, it actually did help quite a bit. I was going for a more like tactile UI in my project, where the overlay seemed to sort of fit with the world. Like there was a sort of like PDA device that you would interact with, and I had to scrap that because you waste so much dead space with the aesthetic elements that you just, if you want to add a lot of detail, it's there just isn't enough like resolution to display everything that you display.
Right, because you as a creator want to make it look pretty, but as a player, you're going to be seeing the inventory screen 50 times, and you just want to get the thing you're looking for. You want to press X, you want to equip X item, you just want to get to that item, get it to that aid item, get the health potion as quickly as possible, and get out, basically.
It needs to thematically fit, but yeah, it needs to make sense. It can't be like you can't be trying to like it needs to feel intuitive, and that's difficult to do when there's a lot of additional like fluff. Even though it doesn't look very good, it's very difficult to pull off if you want to display a lot of information.
Yeah, it needs to be pretty and practical.
Yeah. It needs to be clear.
And I
would you actually
harder to rework too, because you have like all this graphical consideration. So it's maybe if you were like a pro and you knew exactly the layout from the start and you knew you wouldn't change much, but I could imagine it being fucking hell to be like, I just got that goggly thing ready. Now I don't have space to put the goggly thing on the menu page.
I think maybe retroactively you could do it, but yeah, you need to make sure that everything is the layout works before you do it. I swear I have so many iterations of the UI in that style, and it just never worked. I probably spent like 3 months trying to get it to work, and it's a nightmare.
Yeah, UI design is hard when you actually like, even as a novice, when you peek into like the actual behind the scene process, like, okay, we actually it has to convey information to the player, and the player doesn't know what I know, so you have to assume yourself up. Like you have to have like a, what's that called, that philosopher, the veil of ignorance. You have to purposely veil ignorance, retard ray yourself, so you can idiot proof the UI. So any chimpanzee can use your UI.
Yeah, you can make overly complex AI or UI that has a learning curve, but it's going to limit it's a filter, and you kind of don't want filters if you want a game to sell reasonably well.
That's well. If you want to be remembered, you want a lot of filters. Like we had a discussion about filters with the Black Mountain Clan. Like, what's your thoughts on the filter question, Sim? Do you think filters are actually kind of necessary for longevity?
I think filters are hipsters like them because they like feeling like, oh, this is only something that I could like. I'm special. I'm better than everybody else. But sometimes the term filter is used to
excuse
justify excuse bad design. And
there's levels of filter for sure. Like we were talking about that in the Black Mountain one. Like Black Mountain as a filter, like to me that's like goes way too far. But the Shrouded Hills, the bandits at the bridge, I feel like that's a pretty solid filter. It's probably like 20% too strong, to be honest, or it's just a bit too much for like general audiences. I think, but I think there's a place for that initial challenge, of build shit tests. Like, are you ready for the actual game? But part of it also is that modern games learned is that you need to be able to reset your stats and shit. Whereas Arcanum is just once your points are applied, you're just fucked if you have a bad build.
I think I think the filter is being applied in a lot of different cases here. But if the game is well designed, your filter should be like that famous level in Half-Life 2 where you learn about how like the discs can like cut people in half.
Right now.
There's that famous example where it shows those little discs that you can throw cutting
the saw blades, right?
Yeah, with the gravity gun, yeah.
There's that famous example. Like you should be able to explain to your player how to get past the filter. But if the filter is ideally the filter is just a tutorial.
It should be like a
well-made tutorial.
Yeah, a filter should be testing the player if they're paying attention during the tutorial, basically.
Yeah, so they're not going into the main game not understanding the core mechanics.
Yeah, it should be a dialogue with the player. Okay, you spent X amount of hours. Let's see if you actually paid attention and retained the information we were trying to teach you.
Not a testicle flattening, but a very well designed tutorial.
Yeah, like an example, like for me, BMC actually is a good filter. While a bad, like a testicle flattening filter, would be like the combat system in Morrowind. Like that's just pure testicle flattening.
Inscrutable, yeah. But I mean, if you guys are good, I'm good. And then we're hopping on a boat. We're sailing off to Caledon for the next one. I'm excited for it. Wrap this game. But then before you know it, Rags to Riches Bros, our time is coming.
Let's go.
2 more weeks.
2 more weeks. We'll get Rags to Riches for the new year with Temple Tots. We see you, Temple Tots. We know you want some of the. You want to do Rags to fucking Riches, but you want to do Temple of Elemental Evil?
I don't even know. To be honest, I don't know if I get Rags to Riches working. I cannot get the audio working. We'll see. We still have plenty of time. We have 2 more episodes left. Next time we'll do probably 2. We'll see. Maybe we can squeeze in 1. I think it's a 2. I think it's a 2-fer.
Well, we have 3 episodes left because I don't know what you want to spoil this or save this only for the Patreon episode of this, but we will be interviewing Tim Cain himself as the finale for season 1 of the Arcanum, actually.
Yeah, extremely generous of him. Thank you, Tim. Genuinely, we're looking forward to it, and we appreciate the kind words. And Sam, thank you to you for coming on as well. Like it was a blast, dude. And I really appreciate just like chatting and bullshitting about it as you were like going through it, crashing out as you played it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, bearing with us.
We should have you, since we have only 2 episodes left. We should force you. We groomed you to play it. We need now. We need to. We edged you in our GOI. But now we need to climax. So we groomed you to finish it. We groomed you to start it. We now need to groom you to finish it.
You really should finish. If you have like an hour left, it sounds like an hour or 2 left. I think you should push through because the end, it's a good story. Like it's genuinely just like good storytelling at the tail end in a way that a lot of the earlier game, frankly, isn't for the main quest. It's much more lopsided. But we'll get it. We will cover that in detail. And if nothing else, you should come on for Vampire. I think that would actually be really worth it.
Okay. Yeah, no, Vampire sounds good. I'll have to actually pick it up. You'll be grooming me into that too.
Yeah. And don't forget, sweetie, you also have to get Outer Worlds. Let's go.